Alrighty, my friends. Hold on, let me just switch up some audio stuff here real quick. Let me make sure you guys are getting the right input. There we go. Turn it down, turn it up, turn it down, turn it up. All right, folks, my friends, my people. Ooh, my vegetables, my garden. What's up, folks? How you doing? Welcome. Are we echoing? There's an echo. What? How would I be echoing? Somebody explain. Somebody make it make sense. We'll get that figured out. I hope there's not an echo. Welcome, though, folks. How you doing today? How you doing this week? Audio good? All right, I love to hear it. I am happy to be back. If you couldn't tell, we got good Star Citizen news. Look at how many smiles I have. We got some stuff to talk about today, folks. But before we do that, obviously, I just want to say hi. Welcome back. It's been, I don't know, a week. I think a little over a week since we've been streaming. We did like that big 12-hour stream. You guys were amazing. We had people chilling here for a full 12 hours. We hung out, we did some fun, we played Star Citizen, we talked, we chatted, we got in arguments, all the good stuff. Ate some spicy stuff, ate some disgusting stuff. But just had a good time. That was solid. So now we're back, and I'm ready to get back into Star Citizen. We've got news about lore. We got a lore update for you guys about Stanton itself, one of the moons in Stanton. We've got news about Star Citizen 3.21 somehow coming out to PTU before it even shows up on the roadmap. I find that kind of funny. We got a message from Chris Roberts. Jump Point showing up in the PTU itself. News regarding data mining and services like Urkel games probably having more trouble in the future, which also is a big topic of the podcast which just came out. We'll link that in the chat for you guys. We just got a lot of stuff, and like my parents invited me, my wife, my sister. They took us out to a family vacation this last week, and it's like, it feels like, because we also, the last time I was hosting somebody was like a month ago, Starfield dropped, and it feels like every time we take a step away from the computer, something big is happening, and I feel like maybe we should start to expect that. Maybe we should start to just step away every week so that something always good happens. Either way, I don't mind that it happened while I was gone. I'm really excited though to be returning to good news. It's just, Star Citizen's been a struggle this year, and we have been in a bit of a drought. An information drought, at least. And those of you who have been around here a while, you know how it works. Star Citizen generally has certain times of the year that are more interesting. More news is coming out. More things are being done publicly and in our face. And we're back into that period. We dropped out of that period around May-ish, June-ish, after Invictus Week. And now we're stepping back into it with CitizenCon stepping up. And I don't know if they're still doing Inside Star Citizen. Probably this ending season of Inside Star Citizen we'll get some good news on end of year content, but things are looking better. I see you in chat, Olmec, with the Prime sub. Thank you so much for that, buddy. At 14 months though, the 14-month-old tomato, a little squishy, still holding large. And Lord Skippy with the super chat in YouTube. Dude, Lord Skippy, we need to talk, man. It's been, I haven't gotten to hear your Dolce German tones in a while. Greetings from Vegas. Why are you? This dude is in Vegas now, apparently. About to play some drunk golf. Won't be able to stick around, but have fun. You go do you, man. Drunk golf sounds a little bit more fun than listening to a tomato chat on microphone. But come back and watch the rerun afterward. Setting up a new big giveaway. Thank you. An amazing time during the streamathon. That's right. So I'm sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of intro before we get into this because we're going to dive hard into Star Citizen news. I just want to get these things out of the way. You guys killed it during Streamathon. We have raised enough money to get multiple pieces of merch made for the garden, for the community. We're getting a CitizenCon special piece of merch made as well. We're going to be printing out some of our own stuff and bringing it with us to CitizenCon so we could do some raffles and giveaways there. And you also just made it a lot easier for us to find a place to host our CitizenCon meetup for the community. So thank you so much, everybody who was there for that. And we'll probably do another one like towards the end of the year, hopefully with some big update. Who knows what might come, though. All right. Friends in chat. I see my regulars, my Reeses, my Echoes, my Pungies, my Martins, my Kevins, my Glass Swords, my Toes gang. Hello, folks. Welcome in. You guys had a good weekend? Screw that. You guys have a good week? I had a great week. I've got great stories for you guys from Louisiana. We're going to have some fun with this. One of them includes me getting credit card fraud on a credit card that hasn't even been received yet or activated. Another is getting locked out of our door at, what was that, 11 p.m. at night? 1 a.m. in the morning, something? We got locked out of our door from the inside of our hotel room. Still can't explain it. And we also had a fun little run-in with a very loud racist lady in public. So we got stories. But why don't we jump into this first? I'm on one, man. We had a great org meeting too yesterday. Our org is taking off GII. Join GII, folks. #. We're doing good things. The leadership in there is holding it down. We're putting good things together. Events, progression. The website's looking good. We got events running regularly. We're jumping into 3.20 with a ton of money-making events, cargo events and stuff. It's good times. So I'm ready for a good quarter of Star Citizen for the rest of the year. Didn't want to sleep nicely, though. Not too nicely. We almost fell asleep in the hallway, to be honest. Arvid, hello. Drazen, 35 months on the sub. Holy lordy, dude. We got to go back and watch some of those early streams, early videos one of these days. I was in Louisiana. We were just visiting with family. We went to see New Orleans for a bit. Yeah, just passed out in front of the front door, basically. It's really funny. The videos of us getting in, like shoulder charging the door with the hotel staff to try and break the door down. I'll tell you guys all about it later. We've got a movie night, by the way, going on the Discord channel on Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. UTC. 7:30 p.m. UTC. So if you guys want to hang out with the community, even if you're not playing Star Citizen, we have people playing Star Citizen every day. But if you want to just come hang out, chat, watch movies, talk about stuff, feel free to join us on Discord for that kind of thing. And Shifty, thank you for the membership on YouTube. My man. Hope this 20 months highlights balances out some of the Murica moments. Member for 20 months, Shifty. I know you well, you and your bright red picture. Thanks for hanging out, man. Okay. I have delayed this enough. Let's get into it. So, we got a lot of stuff happening in Star Citizen out of nowhere while I was gone. Just kind of, this is what CIG does. We had 3.21 go to PTU. We had Chris Roberts make a little appearance in Spectrum, say some things, some stuffs. We've got data mining changes coming with 3.20 live that are changing up the aspects of third-party tools like Urkel Games, Armory, and the item finders. We've got a lore update to go over with Yella. And we've got, obviously, the details of 3.21 going to the PTU. That is like the jump point showing up for some reason out of nowhere. And obviously some of the other features going on, what that means for 3.20.1. And we will, of course, be jumping into the PTU today as well. So let's dive right into it. Welcome, folks. Welcome, folks. Arena Commander schedule update. So this is actually, this caught us kind of by surprise. The Arena Commander experimental modes are on sort of schedules, waves, if you will. And the tank mode is already gone. Team tank battle, let's see. I'll just, instead of saying it myself, let's just read from the source. So here are the schedules for Arena Commander gameplay. This is like a new, not a new type of gameplay in 3.20, but it's been newly updated. So I think a lot more people are going to be using it. We'll see a lot more of these kinds of updates on it. And this is going to be a good way for them to start getting more people playing regularly, even when the game is struggling. So it looks like they are running Gun Rush until September 24th, so it's gone. That's right, I saw that they removed this. How you going to remove Gun Rush? Master modes ends October 1st. Now, I think I saw them say they were going to keep it because of the feedback they were getting, but maybe somebody can confirm that in chat. Tank Royale, it was gone. That was noticed very quickly by folks, but it came back yesterday. So we should be able to play Tank Royale right now for the rest of the week, and then it's gone again. This is going to get kind of frustrating. Single weapon elimination and mirror match. This is like basically one-on-one modes. Coming back at the end of the week after Tank Royale is gone and leaving October 15th. Why are they removing some? Do they explain that? Let's see. These new game modes range from simple variants of existing modes to brand new experiences that explore new mechanics, locations, and in-game development features before they're announced or introduced in the persistent universe. As previously mentioned, our intention is to rotate these modes in and out of the game in limited time cycles. So they probably said why they were rotating them out before in an earlier Spectrum post. Somebody else might know. It is an interesting choice, though. Like, I feel like maybe it'd be nice to have these regularly. Let's see if I got the 3.20 live post. Because they probably say it in the... wherever they posted the live announcement. Patch watch. Patch watch. Patch watch. Where's the... Isn't there a forum post when the patch goes live? They remove them so people play them all instead of just gun game. But we like gun game. Instead, make the other ones better. Don't think they actually said. I don't know. It's and I wonder how they choose which ones they're removing. It's like they remove Tank Royale here, but then they remove Team Tank Battle later, which, by the way, is coming after that single weapon elimination window of gameplay. Then Team Tank Battle is on. So I guess these are the kinds of schedules that you'll have to keep in mind with your orgs. We're definitely gonna, in fact, let me just post this to my org staff chat right now. Because this is the kind of thing that you're going to have to watch now in order to run events. Like, it's great that we have Arena Commander now that we can run closed events whenever we want. Not so great that they are clearly not running them exactly consistently. Or I guess it's consistent, but it's not constant. So the jump point is just to look pretty. I mean, technically, the only thing that's probably in for the jump point right now is art. It's not so much... The focus on the jump point coming into the game isn't so much what it is now. It's just what it means, more so. Hey, Nahore. How you doing? Heard they removed the tank ones because they needed driving tweaks. I figured that was the case, but then it's already back. The tank one's already back with no hot patch, as far as I aware. They like it for a while, then get bored. Take it away, then give it to them a month later, and they love it. I get that for, like, some game modes. But this is a lot of different game modes. Like, I'm surprised they're doing anything with the single elimination stuff, but... Oh well, that's your AC Arena Commander update for now. Until November, we know our scheduling, and we'll probably get a new schedule at the end of October. Or at the beginning of November. Be nice to have multiple modes available, yeah. They just put the location there. It's pretty normal to put a location in first before it's actually usable. Yeah. The 400i is back, Netsuko. That's good. Awesome. Yeah, we had a weird bug with Netsuko. He won the 400i here on the channel and couldn't see the ship, but it sounds like it's back. Happy to hear it. Yeah, there's no marker on it. They've done stuff like this before with locations where they put the location in early. All right, next up we got a Galactopedia update here. So this is, we get regular lore updates with Star Citizen. You would be surprised at how deep and diverse the lore of Star Citizen already is. I mean, if you just look at any of these short articles talking about a diamond planet, it looks like they did a lot actually for the Xion star systems here. Look at all these there's a ton of Xion names here that they've updated. I'll zoom in a bit here. All of these, I'm not going to try to say them because I'm going to get them wrong. Sansu Serua Kyuko QQ Raipuyong. I told you I wasn't going to try and pronounce them, and then I did. And I did terribly. But all of these are Xion planets. Doesn't mean that they're going to be in the game or anything, but it is interesting that they focused on a lot of them for the lore. We also got a couple of different ship updates here. Probably not anything too crazy, so I won't click into them, but we did get a full-length article on Yella. This is a moon that we all already know, so it is kind of nice to hear lore about a place that you can actually visit and touch with your own feetses. Hey, thanks for the raid, Nahore. And, oh, I already saw that. Fat raid. If you say some of those names, you'll conjure a demon. Tell you what, man, that's what we were wondering with our whole door locked from the inside thing. Like, how could that possibly happen? I look forward to some of the possible explanations when we talk about that. Okay, so, Yella. What is it? Why is it here? Why do we care? Honestly, we don't. Let's move on. All right, so the next... No, I'm kidding. Let's look at Yella. Yella is the outermost natural satellite of Crusader and is orbited by a ring of asteroids. Good fun, those asteroids. Good fun to fly around. A thin crust of water ice on the moon's surface is said to present the cool demeanor of Yella, the oldest sibling in the human children's story. The human children's story. That's a... If I ever make a children's story, I'm going to sell it as that. Buy your kid a human children's story. It's weird. It's not weird. There's aliens, but you get what I mean. The story's called A Gift for Baba. It's actually really good. Go look it up if you're interested in reading. If you like to read, I don't want to say fan fiction, but just like fictions about IPs. Gift for Baba is actually pretty good. Like I said, not only does it revolve around something that we can experience in games so it feels more grounded, it's also just a solid story. So if you ever do that for video games, that's one that I would suggest starting out with. Crusaders Industries security came under fire during a Senate hearing in SEY 2949 for failing to curtail criminal activity in the outpost colloquially known as Jumptown, located inside one of Yella's craters. This is actually referring to a player event. So many of you may have seen that the Daymar Rally has been added to lore because it's been such a success. Star Citizen just generally does that. It's going to be really cool, I think, in the long run for this kind of like community stuff to be added into the lore over time to be able to be referenced. But if you go on YouTube and look for the Jumptown Wars documentary by the Astro Historian, good friend of the channel, this goes over the whole thing. Jumptown was not a CIG directed thing initially. It was a player thing that kind of developed naturally. Players started to fight over this location, and it ended up becoming a thing that CIG turned into a dynamic event a few years later. But originally, it was just players being players and doing stuff, and it was added to the lore in 2019, which I think was really cool. Now, continuing on in the environment, it says, due to its thin oxygen atmosphere and distance from the system's sun, the surface of Yella is very cold, with average temperatures between -55 and -10 degrees Celsius. The large water ice sheets that sprawl across the plains and mountains feed the water cycle via sublimation. There are no bodies of liquid water on Yella's surface, nor is there any rainfall, but snow showers, fog, and windstorms can arise when the weather conditions are correct. And I think it was a year and a half ago or so, maybe, or 2 years ago, that they added like frozen lakes to the surface of Yella. I think that was a nice touch. Always love seeing those little additions come in here and there on the planets. Abdi! 2 years, dude. 24 months. Abdi just renewed that sub. Thanks for the support, mate. Appreciate you. Abdi is also a good friend of the channel, member of the community, member of Soul Citizens that we were on yesterday. Have a good chat. And also a streamer himself. Biggest news is that a giant tomato was found in the game. Flies floating out in the Stanton system. We got a giant tomato out in the Stanton system. Why are they trying to steal my thunder? There's only room for one tomato in space. There is not. There are many tomatoes in space. We are all tomat. Could we see a gameplay presentation of in-game jump? You don't think of what preset pre-render video they could show us about Pyro again. We won't be satisfied. We need to see the engine work real time. Well, whatever we see from the engine working real time is just going to look like what we saw in 2019. Because that very well could have been the engine working, just in a very closed and staged environment. To be honest, it's hard to say that we want to see any sort of tests from CIG in general, because you never know what's actually ready for, mass adoption and what's just kind of running in a closed environment. And it's easy to get carried away when you see something that is years away from closed environment, right? As we all know, very, 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 very fucking well. What's up, Jack? Welcome. Ooh, late haul traffic. Just push them out of the way. Just get them out of there. Nobody cares about that traffic. The new Microtech is nice too. Yes, with the forests. ArcWarp with its clouds, Microtech with its forests. You can bet that we'll see some updates to Hurston and Orison and Crusader over time. It'll keep coming. Thanks for joining us on Soul Citizens for the St. Jude fundraiser yesterday. Yeah, you guys killed it too. I didn't get to see what the total amount raised was, but when I was there, you guys were already halfway to the goal. And it was like definitely not halfway through the stream. That was impressive work. Great to see the group coming together and putting together so much money towards a good cause. Thanks for hosting that, guys. The Tomunity. The Tomato Immunity. Glad to have you, Adam. That is, yes. Can I explain the update and why we should or should not update? You mean update to 3.21? Actually, I think that's our next thing. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Let's finish this lore update and then continue on with the good stuff, yeah? Let's go to history. Maybe there's something useful here. Discovered by a nav jumper, Toshi Aaron, alongside the rest of Stanton's system in 2851. That's how new this system is. The star system that we use right now in the game is less than 200 years old. It's newer than the United States of America. it's newer than, oh my gosh, like it's newer than the Republic of Turkey. It's newer than, what else is there? Ethiopia? No, Ethiopia was late 1900s. It's like a very new place. The whole star system, all these planets and moons and stuff, all got developed very quickly. At least that's the official date. So it's a little bit weird, but I don't know if they're ever going to change it. I know that they talk about updating that and stuff. It's a strange date for a system that is essentially almost the center of all space nearby except for Terra. Yella was briefly the sole property of the UEE. During this time, the Navy began to construct a base in the skies of Crusader. It lightly mined the moons for resources, but largely left them alone, so these moons are mostly untouched. In 2865, driven by a financial crisis, the UEE sold all the planets and moons in the system to various corporations, including Crusader, who purchased the parent planet along with Yella and its sister moons. After refitting the Navy's platforms on the newly renamed planet Crusader for its own use, the company established multiple mining facilities and security outposts across Yella, Selen, and Daymar, and offered some of the land for lease. In spite of the inhospitable environment, some humans have made Yella their home. Wilma Ivory built the first permanent homestead in 2907. People haven't even been permanently living here for more than 50 years. She lived there until her death in 2935 from natural causes. In 2909, the first human was born on Yella, when Albert and Nora Triolo were forced to make an emergency landing to give birth to their daughter, Irma Triolo. Outlaw Group Ninetails began using abandoned Navy facilities as bases in 2946, lending to an increase in patrols from Crusader security. So there is another nice little piece of lore. The problem that they have with Ninetails, which they've only really started to build out in the game for us, it's a bad problem, by the way. It's a problem for the entire star system. originates from Crusader space. It's only been going on since 2946. That's like that's within our playing the game. We were playing in Stanton before 2946. So this is super new. All of this stuff that's going on in Stanton. Unregulated ground vehicle racing is a popular pastime among residents of and visitors to Yella. Lakendra Walsh organized and won the first recorded ground vehicle race on the moon in 2912. The site of this race was made into a permanent racetrack and was named Lakendra's Lap in her honor. Ground races, you guys think we'll see one in Yella called Lakendra's Lap? Many of the racing sites take advantage of Yella's terrain and include large boulders and rocks. In 2917, amateur racer Ethan Halton died in the Kimura Valley from injuries sustained during a crash while making a tight turn on one such track. If all you have to do is die while driving to get mentioned in official lore 40 years later, I'm going to be mentioned in a lot of lore. They're going to be like, in 2954, amateur soldier Space Tomato died in this space station and this space station and this space station and on this city. Ooh, in this bunker. Oh, looks like he fell through a ship. Like, put me in the lore, guys. UE is corrupted. They let corpse police in jail anyone they decide to fly into and explode to cover up their defective officers. They jail the survivors, and then they pay private citizens to go out there and kill the folks. Yeah, UE can be pretty messed up. I did watch the video of Tirada flying. Yeah, very nice. Well, the vehicles do feel better in 3.20, which is good. We will carve GII into SC lore one way or the other. We will. Maybe we have to throw a couple asteroids at a city. You know? We'll see. We'll see what has to happen. How is life in Turkey? We're actually back in the States right now. We'll be back here until the beginning of next year. Trying not to get too hyped about Pyro in 4.0 because I have a feeling it's going to be buggy. It is going to be buggy, and it's still going to be a while before we see it. Don't jump the goose. That's not the saying. Jump something. I don't remember what it is that you jump. But don't jump it. Don't do that. Use the STV, and after a small right turn, you go full-on drift mode. Really? They're not... Oh, I had a good time driving the STV. Seem like they don't have enough friction. Have done a couple cross-country drives, and tumblers have a real drag issue. I noticed it better in 3.20. It's still not great, still not perfect. But I think they drive better in the new patch than they were before. Don't jump the rope. That's the one. The rope. What did I say? Everyone put GII before the name on your nameable ships. We will have a GII fleet. We'll have ships that are bought by the org, meant for org use, and they'll all have GII in the name. Is CIG leaving out a segment this year for CitizenCon? We haven't seen the schedule yet, from what I've seen. Jump the fence is another one. You can indeed jump the fence. I've done it before. That is, can confirm. Okay, so the big piece of news. This is our big topic. Alpha 3.21 is in PTU. And they're going to go into a little bit of detail here. This is actually Benoit Bourgeoisie, I think is how you say his name. He's going to go into a little bit of detail here to talk about why 3.21 is coming out. Hello, everyone. He actually says, hi, everyone. But I'm giving him both a different accent and slightly different words. Star Citizen Alpha 3.21 has just been released to the PTU. The primary reason for the nomenclature change from 3.20.1 to 3.21 is to signify Star Citizen approaching the next major milestone in its online networking technology. So straight away, the cat's out of the beanie baby. I'm just gonna try and mess up all of the sayings today. Okay, so don't jump the fence. The cat's out of the pot here. Jerry, the patch itself is just a renamed version of what we were already expecting. So not a huge deal, but let's keep listening, see what else there is. During the most of you have already watched probably watched somebody go over this before. So you're just like watching me go through it, I guess, which is still fun. During the 3.21 patch update, we will introduce a new testing channel aimed at graduating new underlying technology. This new channel allows the dev teams to get players on a version of the game that matches the current live release in both content and features, but that introduces large tech changes that must be validated, graduated, and ultimately mission proven before making their way to a live release. This is going to... I should probably update the title and thumbnail of this video, but I put out a video earlier today that goes over how these updates are applied. Many of you may have heard 3.20 was a different code base. That was kind of a common thing that was being said. And essentially what that meant was that CIG had not diverted their development away from what was going on with 3.18. So they released 3.18, and then 3.19 was stacked on top of 3.18. They used the same kind of code. They just added more stuff in. That's why that's usually something that they can do if there's no major changes to the back end or the game itself. 3.20 was the first new code base after 3.18. That's why 3.20 does feel a little better, allowed them to get rid of some of the bigger bugs like invisible players and stuff. Now what he's saying here is that instead of doing a 3.20.1, which for all intents and purposes, wait, no, that's another saying. For all intents and PowerPoints, the 3.20.1 would be just like 3.19 to 3.20 what 3.18 was. You get what I mean? 3.19 was essentially 3.18.1. So instead of doing a 3.20.1 on the same code as 3.20, he's saying, okay, we are preparing for the next major addition to codebase, so we're updating with a new codebase using 3.21. That's essentially the whole point of this update, and now he'll go on to say why they have to get a new codebase. So the first project to enter this new technology preview channel is the replication layer, something we've heard about quite a bit, which is a core networking part of the server meshing infrastructure. In this update, the game's networking, replication, and state are separated from the game's server into its own service. This is really the main idea behind server meshing. Server meshing was all about separating out the server itself from the simulation that's running. And someday I'm going to get a proper understanding of this. I generally, what I'm saying now comes from the people building server meshing, but not necessarily with their understanding. So I'm not going to dive into that super far. But the idea is to get a separation between the data and the simulation so that they can both run independently and won't interrupt each other if there's like a server crash or something happens on the back end. This is super crucial for us to be able to play the game without crashing, for 30Ks to be gone, for the game to be able to handle a larger load and run correctly. It's just like an overall big deal. So replication layer is kind of like that next step, that prerequisite to get server meshing working. Where were we? Game clients are connected to this new service, and the game server itself becomes a client with authority on the replication layer. With the replication moving off the game's servers, the team is hoping to begin testing server recovery without disconnecting game clients from the universe state on a given game shard. That's the idea. So you're not necessarily gonna feel those crashes once this crash recovery is actually working. This isn't to say it's going to be working in 3.21. In short, this is the next step towards testing components of server meshing after deploying persistent entity streaming earlier this year. For the time being, the game server will only be managing the Stanton system, so you won't notice much of a change in your experience. However, this is a critically important step as we progress towards Alpha 4.0 and beyond. We'll share more information about Alpha 3.21 in our upcoming roadmap update next week, and you can look ahead to CitizenCon for more information about the preview channel and how it will play a vital role in further bringing our shared universes to life. As to say, of course, at CitizenCon, we will indeed be talking about server meshing. I don't think anybody should expect less. The funny thing about this, though, is what was said there at the end, that we're going to hear more at the roadmap roundup. I understand why the game's in 3.21 PTU. I get that. It's just funny that it is in PTU and people are playing it, and we can't even see it on the roadmap yet. Just caps off an annoying period of low information. Sigelian, what's up, man? Welcome in, folks. Welcome, Sigelian's crew. The pizza crew. The Ultima crew. I saw you were playing some Ultima today. How's it treating you, man? Talking with people on orgs is stupid. Twitch conversations are somehow superior. You don't have fun in orgs? A lot of the people in our Twitch chat right now are from the org. Thank you for the raid, by the way, Sigelian. Replication layer equals game state. DGS equals game simulation. Right. Jake said all will be answered and dropped on the roadmap Wednesday. Yeah. Makes sense. You okay with low information on the month lead up to CitizenCon? It wasn't really that month. It's kind of the year prior. Failed to catch on MIBs, so standard Ultima stream. Never played Ultima, but apparently it must be a great RPG to still be around. Need a terrible bishop here. Mrs. Superior Gun conversations with him. Where's the terrible bishop? Bishop's usually in here. Bishop will drop by at some point. So there's a couple of things here that are interesting to consider. Let's see. Okay. So this is following the persistent entity streaming drop that we had earlier. Now, if you go to... Oh, man. You know what? Let's do a little bit of a history lesson. I believe we have the actual... from the mouth of the people themselves, kind of what the plan it was from here. Let me just see if I can find that quickly for you. If not, no problem. All right. If these have timestamps, then we should be good. If they don't, then we are not good. 13 server, stowing and stowing, matchmaking, combat logging, reduce risk, matchmaking, density, manager. Oh, here we go. Okay. Replication, server meshing. Yeah, so this will talk a little bit about this step. This is from about a year ago to the date. This is almost 11 months ago. And this will talk a little bit about this step with replication. Ultimately, I'm showing you this because persistent entity streaming was kind of, it wasn't the first step, right? Object container streaming, the 64-bit conversion, bind culling, all this stuff's been going on to get to server meshing, but persistent entity streaming was kind of like that first major prerequisite before server meshing. This, what we're doing now, is the second one, and there will be probably a couple more and then server meshing, but we're seeing a consistency, I think, in the communication, at least over the last year when it comes to this application. So I wanted to show this just to kind of give that context of what they were saying before.
Replication.
Yes.
Is there replication in 3.18? If I throw
Okay, hold
something
on. Of course. The video itself is too quiet, so I'm going to have to open it on my other YouTube
Hello,
channel.
Everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen
so that I can
Live.
boost the audio for you guys. I wish they were better at this. And then we will go back to the question.
Replication.
Okay.
Yes.
What do we got?
Is there replication in 3.18? If I throw something on the ground on server 14, does it just stay on server 14 and only 14 and only exists on 14 until it's eventually cleaned up? It does not replicate to other servers.
It does not replicate to other servers. At the moment, the only way you can bring something. So the first fundamental point you have to understand is every single item can only exist once, right? So you can't have a copy of the same exact instance of an item in multiple shards. If you have your ship and you bring it to shard A, it is in shard A. That ship can't exist in a different shard. And there's a good reason for it. If it would exist in multiple shards, what happens if in one shard someone shoots the left wing off, in the other shard someone shoots the right wing off, right? We can't allow that to happen. So what that means is if that ship is in a shard, it's locked to the shard. It is just part of that instance. If you take that ship and bring it into your global inventory, that's then your way to take this ship and bring it with you to a different shard. And so every shard in this very first iteration is its own isolated instance, basically.
And then drawing that.
So that's important to remember. When he's saying shard, we kind of see that as server because there is no server mesh environment yet. So if you load into the game and you see there's 100 players on your server, it's essentially 100 players on your shard. And whenever he's saying shard, that's what he's referring to. It's kind of going to change over time as servers become meshed and there's more than one server per shard. But for now, that's just how it is.
That line forward to server meshing. Server meshing isn't about replication either. Server meshing is about bringing all of these things, all of these servers together in a mesh, and it moves. It transitions. It doesn't replicate.
If we talk about replication, obviously if I talk about replication, I probably have a different thing in my head because in server meshing, we do replicate objects between different servers because multiple servers will eventually simulate the same shard. Right. And obviously in that case, you might have two servers and they replicate the same object between each other for simulation reasons, right? So it could be that server A simulates one area and server B simulates another area. There's overlap. In that overlap, you have objects in that overlap area replicated to both servers, right? That's why for me replication is a bit different word, but you can see a shard again as its unique individual instance. There's no cross-shard replication planned. We do, once we talk about player bases and so on, we do have discussions with design right now how we can do that for like if a player builds a base on a planet, for example, we kind of want to show that on all shards. Not just on the one shard the player's in, but those discussions are still happening.
Okay, let me recalibrate a second. I kind of misunderstood what they meant when they said replication here. They weren't talking about necessarily the replication layer. They were talking about replication of objects. This might not be the right video to go about this. I might want to do just the one. Oops. I might want to do just the one with Benoit. Let's see. Yeah, I think Benoit explains it here. They don't have timestamps. No, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find anything other than the letter from the chairman. This will explain it. Didn't necessarily have everything pulled up exactly as I wanted for this one, but we're getting there. We're finding it. All right, so let's just do a quick Control F replication, and this will tell us about the replication layer. So, the first order of business, now this is the beginning of this year. This is before we got PES in game, but they thought PES was coming pretty soon. First order of business is to continue to stabilize Alpha 3.18 so we can release to the live servers in January. That obviously didn't happen. They were set back a couple of months. Once the team is back from their well-earned holiday break, then we will continue to harden PES, improving aspects and adding some additional quality of life features, including the ability to choose which PES shard you would like to join. We still can't do this, so this hardening process didn't happen, and it's possible that it might be coming with the replication layer in 3.21. This might be something that we hear about on Wednesday, but we don't really know yet. The current game server or PES shard matchmaking tries to match you to the latest PES shard you were in when you log back in or recover from a crash, but if that shard is full, it places you in a different one. Now, we've all had that happen before as well. Hey, Zerb, thank you so much for the sub. 29 months, dude. These numbers are getting big, folks. We got to do something. We got to do something special for all this. Big Mrs. Tomato giveaway. Setting up today. Tomorrow afternoon. This is what I'm being told. More to come. Thank you, though, for the sub. Appreciate you. 29 months. And also, Lobu, thank you for the Prime sub. 321 with CitizenCon or IAE. I think it'll go live with CitCon. And we'll probably get additional patches after that. That kind of round it out. You're just giving her away? I mean, it was her decision, man. I didn't make the call. Just Mrs. Tomato's giveaway. Have I seen that they started mentioning 2 ships might be getting variants eventually? In like the monthly reports? You're looking forward to server meshing. We really need this. One of the major problems that SC has is the lack of people on servers. It would be very nice to have more people doing more things. All right, let's get back to this. In the short term, before server meshing makes this not so necessary, we also want to give players the choice to wait in a queue for their preferred shard if it is full. Again, this is something that we don't have yet. This is this is still to come, and I think this was all dependent on the timeline going well. This is one of those situations where I don't think they misled with this messaging, but I think things are changing so quickly that it's hard to stick to this. I think that this is the plan if things went as they wanted them to, but PES just straight broke. And I think they had to compact this over the last 6 months, and instead of releasing any patches that allowed this stuff to happen, kind of group all this sort of functionality in with whatever next patch they need to do to get to server meshing, because they have fallen behind, and I think they're feeling the heat on a monthly basis at this point. So that next step, the one we've been talking about, is that it will be the next step will be to separate the replication layer, the in-memory cache that remembers all dynamic object states, from the game server and separate it from the game server and have scalable replication layer workers that communicate the state changes between the various game client servers and the replication layer. So that is what they're talking about now with 3.21. That's separation of the replication layer. It's very important because for server meshing, as universe state needs to be fully decoupled from server state, that is again that separation of the simulation from the data we talked about, it will also make Star Citizen much more crash resilient on the client side, as a server crash will no longer take down the replication layer as well, meaning that clients can stay connected while a new server takes over where the last one left off. It will also have the added benefit of having the view every client has of the universe around it be a little more fluid with less lag, as the client's update and refresh of object state will no longer be tied to the tick rate of the game's server. I hate the sentences in these letters. They're so confusing. This means players will see state changes from other remote clients and game servers as they happen at the states the various clients and servers push them. I have one more verification of this system. The messaging has been consistent on this. Let's go all the way back to CitizenCon 2020, I want to say. 2021. So about 2 years back, they were talking about this same thing. And, oh boy, where would this be? Should be like right here somewhere. 2021. I went too far back. Here? Yeah, here we go. So if we go to the server meshing section.
So you think you know Wix? Do you really?
I know Wix. Don't judge me, YouTube.
Simulated.
So here we have an explanation of this very thing happening.
Player entity state in evolution universe again change.
Make sure this is it.
Even if the shard
No. Whoop. Was that it?
show you some more technical
The entity.
details. Yeah, database. When we can of mesh caches the state.
Geez, where was this? Here it is. Okay, I think this is it.
Playing it.
So I believe this is 2 years ago now. Same sort of messaging, I'm pretty sure. Let's have a listen in. Let me know how the audio is.
Okay, let's go back to Paul to learn about some of the benefits of the server meshing architecture.
Yeah, the first benefit is obviously the advantage that we don't have this issue of synchronization between different server nodes. Each server node has one single connection to the replication layer, which is used to push and get updates for entities of interest. The second advantage is that the same streaming and replication logic that we already use for clients can be applied to servers, and that server nodes will only stream in a small area, which will greatly increase performance. It also allows us to increase resilience down the road. As long as a client is connected to the replication layer, the client stays connected even if the server node crashes. In this case, the simulation for an entity may be stopped for a moment, but as soon as a new server comes online, the simulation will just continue. While the underlying tech is close to complete.
Okay, he did that very quickly, but you can see the benefit of this. If this isn't here, if the replication layer isn't here, then these servers would be the connection between the data and the client. When the server crashes, suddenly you wouldn't be getting that data anymore. Here's, I think, maybe a better explanation of it.
And besides some selected persistent player items, all that state would be lost when the servers shut down or crashed. The replication layer is fundamentally different, as the entire state of the universe is stored within a graph database. We call this entity graph, and it's an evolution of the original iCache.
So entity graph is what persistent entity streaming is working off of. That is the first part of this puzzle, and it's something we're actually going to talk about here in a little bit with Chris Roberts. He mentioned the entity graph not really working as much as they wanted it to, but just keep that in mind. Entity graph connects through the replication layer to the clients.
When we create a new shard, the initial entity state of the universe is seeded into this database. This happens offline before we let player join the shard. When the shard comes online, the replication mesh caches the state from the entity graph. As player connect to the shard and as we start to spin up new server nodes, simulation begins and alters the state of the universe. The replication layer does not only replicate these state changes to connect players and server nodes, it also replicates the state into the entity graph. Since the entity graph is a persistent database, the state of the shard is never lost, and even if the shard is shut down, the state persists and can be resumed at a later time.
And that's what we see now.
Benoit is going to
So overall, the whole system is meant to continue to build on this idea that everything is always functioning, and it's just always persistent. I mean, that's the whole point, right? It's always persistent and everyone is there. It's that same ultimate goal of basically turning the whole game into one bowl where everybody can be there together. Now, obviously that's not going to happen. Everybody can't be there together. It would be insane. They can't get the whole planet into one single location. But the idea itself is all based around this idea of server meshing and around the immersion and persistence in the game. When the replication layer software stalls or breaks, well, that would be a problem, I imagine. Yeah, the ping time would be insane across the planet. I don't know what's going to happen there. You've heard so much about this Benoit, but you have no idea who it is. He's the leader at Turbulent. What steps are left? And Benoit has actually been around since like 2014, for those wondering when he started. You can find him in some of those videos back then. What steps are left after replication layer for static meshing, or is it actually static meshing and CIG is not calling it that? No. So after, let's go back to the letter for the chairman. So like he said, they're doing the replication layer separation. After that happens, we'll be able to have multiple game servers communicate with the replication layer, allowing Star Citizen to have multiple servers simulating the universe's state, which we call server meshing. So they're kind of alluding to that being sort of the last step before actual server meshing, replication layer split, if you're going off of this letter. But this is tech that is, I don't know this stuff, man. I'm just going off of what they're saying. the only people who can probably tell you the answer to that are the people who do stuff like this. And even then, every application is different. Every company's doing things differently. So it would be hard to know. I'm guessing, though, that that's information we're going to get at CitizenCon. That'd be that kind of important stuff for us to get to hear. What else is there here, though? I got real off track. Okay, yeah, I read this whole thing. I think there was a couple of clarifications here in the comments we can read from some of the team. So yeah, here they mentioned that the replication layer is not in 3.21, working in a separate preview channel, and when it feels ready, we'll migrate over to the live servers in 3.21.x. So probably sometime in November or December. Primary reason to increment is to signify the next major tech milestone preparing to come online. We're targeting to introduce this during 3.21. In addition, there's more great content and features coming to 3.21, which we'll share more on in the upcoming roadmap roundup. Hey, it's Abdi. Okay, so Xylo here mentions that we'll get a better picture on Wednesday. That's good. Any features that were planned for 3.20.x will be moved into 3.21, which we're aiming to initially release later this month. So we'll probably get 3.21 at CitizenCon time, when 3.20.1 was going to come. As mentioned in Benoit's original post, the replication layer will be included in an upcoming technology preview channel, and that work will migrate to the live servers in 3.21.x. So just basically seeing the same information multiple times here. I don't think there's any more super crucial info, but that was kind of a look into why the replication layer is important, why 321 is being presented the way it is, and what we should expect from it going forward. We'll probably talk a little bit more after the Wednesday update. Maybe we'll talk on Thursday about kind of what we're seeing from these features and what the patch might look like and when these features might come more specifically. But for now, that's what we've got on 3.21. Cheers. Now we can talk about some of the stuff that came with 3.21. Actually they didn't put the features on here, but I believe we got the Orison missions, which I want to jump in game and try right now, actually. We got, gosh, what else was there? Oh, what was it? You got the Orison missions, you got the retrieve consignment missions, and got something else. I can't remember what. But we also, the biggest thing we got, and I'm not going to get in game to get the footage of this. Figure we could just, yeah. We could just take a look at this ourselves. On Tarada's channel, French streamer and YouTuber, and go check him out. But he got a lot of footage of 3.21 updates and the stuff that's going into it, including a view of the jump point location. So this has been data mined from the game files. It was added in the 3.21 PTU. It does not mean that we're getting jump points any point soon. This is something that CIG does. They will, let's see if I could just get I don't want to like play his video. It's his video. I just want to put it in the background. They will be getting, or they have done this before, where they'll put a location into the game before that location is being used. We've seen it even earlier this year. They started dropping derelicts on planets that still haven't really been used. A lot of people have found them. We've seen them through data mining, and we expected them to be used for gameplay, but they still haven't really implemented anything at those locations. We've seen this with some other locations in the past as well. So this doesn't mean that jump points are coming anytime soon. This is something that they maybe wanted to just get in because they needed to have it on the code base that they wanted to use eventually, and everything that is included in the jump point they'd like to already have on the live build just to make sure it runs with everything else that'll be on the live build in whenever they're used. These could be a year out, they could be 6 months out, they could be 3 months out, but the inclusion of them in 321 doesn't mean too much. Does mean, though, that obviously they're starting to bring everything together. This is way more real than any other year is when it comes to server meshing. The grand pie in the sky that is server meshing that seems like an excuse at all times has never been this close. We've never gotten prerequisites like persistent entity streaming. We've never gotten the actual physical assets that revolve around the jump points or other systems. We're getting there. We're building into something here. But I would hesitate, or I would be hesitant. I would curb expectations because we still got a little while, I think. You were excited for jump points soon, but then you remembered the cargo elevators. The freight elevators. Yeah, the video is beautiful. I would definitely go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I have not watched it, but Torado puts out great content. Visited the space station and it's huge. I bet. I wonder what they're going to do with it to make it make sense to be huge. So yeah, we got a few different things with 321, and as I said, I'm actually going to jump in game here in a little bit and try some of that stuff out myself, but I do think that what I've seen so far is looking very good. Now, let me send a timestamp real quick to, let's see. There. Any thoughts on the F8 messages? What are F8 messages? What do you mean? Freight elevators. Oh, we haven't even gotten freight elevators yet, visually speaking. Do you mean the cargo decks? Like the whole cargo area? I agree with you there. Should try to get there on stream when I get in. We'll see if anybody I know is out there. They can dump any random info into game code and hackers will mine it. Yeah. People have been talking about the F8 Lightning lately for some reason. Oh, I don't know anything about the messages. The F8 will be flying towards them. I have no idea. Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Interesting, though. I wonder if they're going to do something with the F8. I thought that was something they wouldn't be making available to people until Squadron. But maybe they're trying to build that hype. All right, so the next piece of news we have here is the same streamer we were just watching on YouTube. He's getting around. Put out a post on Spectrum with plenty of little quality of life improvements that he thought the game would benefit from. As rare as it is, Chris Roberts actually replied. And I'm not going to read this whole message. I'm sure you guys have heard it already, read in different ways and places. I'll probably touch on some of the important bits here. Mainly this main paragraph here. So this is Chris talking about kind of what's going on with the game, what problems they've run into, and what things they need to do to get back on track, which he doesn't normally do. But when he does, I also find isn't going to be super satisfying for a backer, because no matter what they say, they can never tell us when things will be fixed. And that's like really what we want to know. But it is nice to get that communication. I do hope that everything that he's saying here is at face value, but let's dive in and hear what it is. This year has been an especially difficult one in terms of stability and quality of life due to the rollout of persistent entity streaming in 3.18. The whole way we track and record state of the universe changed dramatically, which also changed the way we handle the data in the backend in the cloud. Because of how we record state with PES, we needed to switch to a different kind of backend database. So we moved from SQL database to a graph database. This is that entity graph that we just looked at. Unfortunately, the graph database we selected, despite being one of the best rated ones and intended for enterprise scale, has had major issues at load, causing the database to lock up and all the queries from the game servers to stall out. This happened on the 3.18 launch, where it took us a lot of effort to stabilize, including some engineering on our side to lessen the load on the database. We thought we had this issue solved, but the most recent version of the database software was a step backwards, and we've had additional lockups at load, which was what happened for periods on Wednesday just after we launched 3.20, and on Thursday, Friday, and very briefly on Saturday. So they've had some pretty major hiccups with an important part of the whole game system being this super important bit back here, right? You look at how this whole web is working, and this entity graph database is a huge part of what keeps this all flowing and working. If this isn't working, it's going to be a lot harder to get these green bubbles to go to the clients in the simulation when that does eventually happen. So that's essentially what he's describing there. We rolled back to an older version and disabled some of the features last night that we suspect may be contributing to the instability. Ironically, we think the replication to mirror databases for full redundancy is a culprit to the database lockups. I feel like that's like a knee slap moment for a developer, right? For somebody in Chris Roberts' shoes or somebody else who understands what he's saying. He's like, ironically, we think the replication layer to mirror database for full redundancy is the culprit of the database lockup. And everybody else is just like, yes. Yes, the replication mirror database culprit lockup database. Yes, of course. Right. I just like reading these updates sometimes and the words fly over my head, but I'm like, sure. This looks to have stabilized things, what they did with the rollback. And the database is getting into a bad state, manifests in multiple ways to infinitely spinning inventory windows. I've experienced that one. Missing items and degraded game performance. We went with an off-the-shelf enterprise-level database for stability and resilience, as there is already a lot of new tech in Star Citizen. So it's frustrating, as the software that should be rock solid is the biggest offender in making the Star Citizen experience even more unreliable. We have the top engineers from the database company working on this, and we are also assessing other databases to switch to if the unreliability of the current solution continues. That would be worrying. Man, that part at the end really is what worries me. I mean, I'm not trying to ring the alarm or anything. It would just really suck if they had to once again switch a service. We actually talked about this on the podcast. If anybody hasn't seen it, just released it. All of these details that I'm going over right now, I went into more detail with the space coder. In addition, we talk about the data mining changes that just changed with 3.20, which are going to impact services like Urkel and item finders and stuff. It's a great talk. Go check it out. It's on the second channel. But we do talk there about what might happen if they had to come up with their own version of this database. It would be essentially like when iCache stopped working and set them back a year and a half, 2 years back in 2020. If they can't get an enterprise model to work for this database system, I can't speak from any sort of professional background on what might happen, but in my unprofessional opinion, I think we might be f***ed. So let's hope that they can figure this out with the database they're currently using, so we could stick to the timeline that we're currently expecting. But this also sort of points again towards how difficult what they're doing is. And I think there's a lot of discussion to be had about whether it's worth it or not. When all this is said and done, I don't know how much people will care about the persistence of all this stuff or the connectivity between all of the game. But you can't deny that they're not doing something unique. And it's just about whether or not you agree with that necessity of this stuff. So when you talk about a game doing what Star Citizen is going to do, these are probably a lot of the kind of problems that they're figuring out behind the scenes. This is the kind of stuff that some other games are finding out during their normal cycle of non-open development that we don't hear about, but that we do see the effects of. Yeah, it would definitely be the worst case scenario. I will throw you this link in the chat. Bro doesn't look at the chat. Nahore, you know what? You know I look at the chat. Shut up. You've been here multiple days. We are not fucked. They stated they can use off-the-shelf DB program if it comes to that. Right, Vastin, I'm saying at the end of the day, if they have to make their own, I specifically am saying if they have to make their own version, then that would be the case. I'm not saying right now that we're in trouble. Seems like they mostly ironed out the stuff from what you're understanding. Otherwise, you're not sure they wouldn't go forward with server meshing otherwise. Yeah, I think like they're still on the road to what they're doing. Again, I don't think this is something that's like stopping them from making progress. I think this is a setback, just like they had the setback with 318. Well, I guess this is the 318 setback. I think this is a setback, and this is why we're not seeing server meshing this year. This is why we're not seeing as much information this year about the work that was going on. This is what I was complaining about all summer, honestly. We didn't know what was going on, and we had this letter from the chairman at the beginning of the year that's telling us what's supposed to be going on, and we can clearly see that we're behind that, but we were still not being actually told anything. I'm glad that we finally are. But I don't know what it means in the grand scheme of things. He also said that they want to get the game back to 3.17.x levels of stability. That'd be great, besides the crashes and desync. We're also very focused on improving quality of life, both annoying bugs that have been around for way too long and some things that we need to address to make the experience fun and welcoming. Your list is great in this respect, as a lot of the suggestions are on the list. There are a lot of great suggestions on here. The headlights is a good one. City marker on the spaceport, it's a good one. There's a lot of great suggestions there, so agreed. Need to drink while stretching. Oh. Well, I can take turns. Good drinks. My tea isn't hot anymore, unfortunately. Oi. Sleep tomato when someone say SC scam, he woke. He salted. Just to temper your expectations, you're telling yourself that 2025 will be the year for SC? Yeah. Let's just say the 2020s will be the decade for Star Citizen. We'll just sit on that. This will be the decade. Kiddies, I tell you, back in my day, we thought it would be the year. Then we thought it'd be the decade. I'll tell you what. This is the millennium of Star Citizen. You can't deny it. This is currently the best century Star Citizen has ever had. Your question is, why wasn't this in the 318 and 319 post-mortem? Yeah, good question, dude. It is very weird that this wasn't in the post-mortem that was like 2 weeks earlier. Maybe they thought with 3.20, like, is it like 3.20 broke so they realized they have to say it? Or was this always going to be coming out? So if the current database solution doesn't work well, it would seem they'd stay with an entity graph structure but look for other options. Yes. They'll try to fix this entity graph, maybe go with another option of entity graph if it doesn't work. But it seems like they're staying with that graph structure. If there are a list of ships that can carry 32 SCU, 32, 16, 8 SCU, and etc. Not yet, but I'm guessing there will be. Whether I realized it or not, I just quoted you. What was the sentence? Okay, so let's finish this out. We did get quality of life fixes into 3.20, like the quantum travel HUD being lined up, but not nearly as much as the team or I would like. We hear that a lot, Chris. Not nearly as much as we want or like. Samesies, buddy. We will be working on knocking out bugs and improving quality of life pretty continuously from here on out. We've also heard that. Now, I think that they've gotten better at this every time they've said it, but every time they've said it, it's never really hit a level that I think their messaging implied. They always said, yeah, we're focusing on quality of life. We really care about the player's experience and playing this like it's an actual game. 6 months later, it still won't be in that way, but we will be getting some small things, server size increases, some kind of crash protection, maybe a difference in the way that drop shadow works on UI. Little things don't necessarily make the whole game great, but they do show that they're at least trying more. So while I don't think this means suddenly the game's going to get polished, I think that it is true that they're looking at more ways to make it enjoyable regularly. So that's really, it looks like, the main information update that he gave here. Again, great information, generally in this paragraph here. Important information, stuff that I really wish that we were just getting throughout the summer. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know how to communicate it. But throughout the year, I've been saying we have this information drought where we know things are going on, but we're not hearing about it. Still true when it comes to features, which I think are coming in CitizenCon and beyond. But when it comes to what happened with PES and where things are with the drive towards server meshing, we never got a follow-up on the ISC. We never got a follow-up letter from the chairman. We never got to hear that they were testing server meshing. This is our first tangible update on what's going on with it. So I appreciate we finally got it. But that's about it for that part. Let's move on to our data mining change with 3.20. So this was a big update that I talked about with Space Tomato 2 Space Coder. I talked about this with the Space Coder on our podcast towards the beginning of the year. Let's see if it's on here. That's weird. I swear I just saw it. The Space Coder. I just saw it. Okay, so this might be it. We had a podcast where we talked about 319, 318, all that stuff. We also talked about some pretty big changes that were in the 319 PTU. They cut off all of the data surrounding items in the game. This is a big deal. This is a super big deal, and it's kind of flying under the radar because A, it was delayed out of the 319 PTU, so it didn't end up making it to live, and therefore didn't make very many headlines. And B, it came in 3.20. Obviously a patch with a lot of other stuff going on that is super easy to miss. Because it was already in PTU, it didn't splash as big when it came to 3.20 live. Therefore, it really hasn't been that much of a focus. But this is now true in 3.20 live. It will be true going forward for the game. Items can now no longer be data mined. And this is going to make things a lot harder for those sort of services that tell you where you can get what items, where which gun is, where what component is, where the armor is, all that kind of stuff. It's going to change. This is big for data running. This is big for exploration. This is big for just generally playing the game. And this is big because it kind of shows how CIG is continuing to take more of that control under their belt. Like I said before, we talked more about this on the podcast in detail, so I'd check that out if you want all the details. But Space Coder does mention that bringing this control of these prices and this information over to the server side does mean the servers can now drive that information, which could be pointing towards further integration to the economy, could be pointing towards a better introduction of quantum simulation to help with the economy, the supply and demand and all that kind of stuff. So this is a significant move, but we don't really know what all of the implications are yet. Now, many of you know the service. Many of you know May. Many of you may know the service, Urkel.games. This is a DPS calculator. It helps you make builds. It helps you find items in the game. It helps you understand what your ship can do. It's a pretty nice system. Oh my god. Our poor eyes. Can we get a dark mode in here, please? Thank you. So you can come in here. You can have your own hangar with all of your ships. You can look at all of these different items. It's this incredibly well-built tool. You can get certain weapons on here. You can compare them together, all of the different numbers. All of this stuff is still going to be there. But there is also a shopping function that would tell you where you needed to go to get what modules, what mining modules, what coolers, what lasers. All this kind of stuff is super helpful when you're trying to outfit yourself, get your loadouts, get all your ships ready to go for the patch. This is huge. It is not going to work anymore outside of crowdsourcing information. Crowdsourcing obviously comes with complications, reliability, up to date, and quality assurance goes down when you start crowdsourcing. But we're getting to a point where Star Citizen may depend on crowdsourced third-party apps to do this stuff instead of just easy data mining. This is, again, another move towards a game that is functioning, that is trying to add value to data, and trying to be a game. An API for those types of sites would be nice for CIG to create. It would be. Whatever happened to that Evo test cranking up the server population? How much did they put it up to? I don't remember. 200? Spiffing Brit will definitely do an SC is broken video. Yeah, shopping data was rolled back to 319 for now. Oh, the economy! Or they just somehow have that information in the game. Well, that would be the ideal solution. But whatever they can do in game, you know that a third-party developer is going to be able to do better in another app, right? They'll be able to have features and do more iterations faster for what people want. That CIG just won't be able to. So let's see what he has to say about this. By the way, I was trying to get Urkel onto the podcast with me yesterday. He was going to join. But turns out Urkel is French and actually can't really speak English fluently. So he didn't want to, I didn't want to put him in that spot to feel kind of bad or awkward on the podcast. But yeah, this is what he had to say about this all. He said, "Thank you. I have received an avalanche of support, kindness, thanks, and recognition. Donations have exploded. I am speechless. Second, I wanted to reassure you about the future of DPS Calculator. It's not dead. Not yet. To explain the situation to those who may have missed it, it all started with the release of 3.20 and the disappearance of the game files that listed the location and price of all components and ships in the game. I had to announce that shopping feature on the app would no longer be available. These missing files, lack of time to work on DPS Calculator, increasing hosting times, and a decline in donations have led me to doubt the future of Urkel Games." Can speak towards that a little bit. Server costs are going up. Space Coder did confirm that it just in general, these things are getting more and more expensive to host online, and there has been a decline in Star support surrounding Star Citizen. I've talked to other creators who have felt it. I've talked to a couple of people who are running websites and orgs who have felt it, and Urkel is here confirming it. It's just generally there's less money supporting Star Citizen stuff over the last year or so as those troubles have started. So we've seen some things kind of close shop or pull back. Some people have taken a break from content creation around the game. Some people have started to look more into other games, just different stuff. That's kind of par for the course of what's going on with the game right now. If server meshing does come in, if Squadron 42 does have good news, if next year something good does happen, I don't think that would be as much a problem, and I think that would pick back up. Generally, it functions on it acts on a function of how well is Star Citizen's public image right now. So it's a combination of things for him, but ultimately this change of how they do this stuff would require him to put way too much time into getting this data, and so he's just talking about shutting down that part of his website. And this might not affect you, probably won't affect a lot of people, but these services are valuable. A lot of people use them for putting events together, for putting together their day to save some time instead of flying around to everything. It'll be interesting to see how things change as these sorts of kind of crutches that we have helping us with Star Citizen are pulled back. Death for a Spaceman comes in. Manual loading of cargo comes in. full-on exploration experience, full hacking experience comes in. All these things are going to make things a little bit more difficult. You're happy to see this change. No longer will people spawn in on a wipe with the ability to be like beeline to the best stuff. They'll still figure out where it is, but it won't be as easy for sure. Hey Jedi, why not sell CIG adverts on Urkel or adverts in general? I don't know. Maybe they didn't have ads. I think it's one guy that does it and it's like a side gig for him. Yeah, it's not his job or anything. Sort of like more situation probably doesn't pay enough compared to the current job they're already working. Yeah. It's universal, I promise you. People might not be saying it, that it's hurting them, but anybody who does this and relies on it in any way, I think there are the four that come to mind are me, Morphologist, Salty Mike, and Astropub. I know that of us four, we all rely quite a bit on the content we make. They're all feeling it. And Morph has the most exposure to it, A, because he's the biggest channel following Star Citizen, one of the biggest, and B, he has a very good series of videos covering the game that has set a bar. And so that bar is now something that the rest of the videos are compared to. And when you get to a point like what we're in this year, it's easy to fall below that bar because of the enthusiasm around the game being lower. Game dev really doesn't pay well, and a lot of software guys are more valuable than most game companies are willing to pay. So I have heard, yeah. You use Urkel all the time. It's sad to see he isn't getting any support considering he runs a site essentially for the min-maxing of most people's gameplay. He should get sponsored to do it. Yeah, I feel like it's good that the community is rallying around it. I do hope that we can find better ways to support the people doing those kinds of things for the community, because there are a lot. There's a lot of people doing really good things for the community. I mean, look at Starchives, look at Shiny Tracker, Urkel, Armory, Verse Guide. There are so many great player-run services. It would be a bummer to see them start going away. Don't know about Morph needing it so much. He seems to do pretty well, even if he weren't a content creator. There's no way to know that. You never know what might be eating. I mean, somebody could literally be paying for like cancer payments, you know, and be living paycheck to paycheck behind the scenes. He does have another job, but anything could be happening. As of the news this past weekend, you haven't been this excited for SC in years. The drought may be over. We will see. Okay, so this was what's happening in Star Citizen, but this is from last week. We don't need this. We actually got through all of the news. So that about wraps up all of the news from this last week, sort of a look into the PTU. We are now going to go live on the PTU to check out 3.21. I'm going to show you guys how it's performing. The new Orison missions, they've been gone for more than half a year. We're going to look at what kind of improvements we've seen from them and what's going on with those, get some action in the game, and continuing answering questions, chatting about the new update and what's happening. But that's about it. Remember, folks, keep an eye out for our giveaways coming up. Look out for the podcast, new videos, and all that good stuff. And let's hop into the game. Let's do it. Let's go. You guys like this new thumbnail? I love the way that this snake is posed. It's like getting ready to lay down. That video will be coming out tomorrow. Taiwan property prices seems crazy high, pretty high. Worm, snake, whatever you want to call it. 3.21 PTU, let's go. Will CitizenCon be streamed somewhere? Yes, it should be on Twitch. I don't know if they stream to YouTube, but it will be on Twitch. Live for the whole time. Tell me you're a U.S. citizen without telling me you're a U.S. citizen. Someone might be paying for a cancer treatment. Do you not have to pay for cancer treatments other places? I feel like at some point you got to start chipping in. That stuff gets expensive. Every year before CitizenCon, it's always the same. Let's see, one year eventually will prove to be very cool. Until I hear Tony Z work is finally coming into SC, I remain distant. Tony Z work coming into SC. Man, someday I want to get a sit-down interview with Tony Z. I'm trying to get interviews with some of the devs at CitizenCon. I don't need to be like crazy intense interviews. I'm not going to go crazy on them. But I'm going to try and get a couple questions in to some of the devs. Just little quick bits of video that we want to take while we're down there on the show floor. We'll get questions from you guys if you're down on the show floor. We'll get questions from random people walking past the convention center that have no idea what Star Citizen is. We're going to try and sit down with some devs and get some good question and answers from them. And we'll be posting these to Twitter, probably throw them up on the Discord channel, maybe do some YouTube shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok stuff. They won't be like big videos on the main channel. These are going to be much shorter, kind of bite-sized content. I'll be doing the big videos for CitizenCon a couple of days after I get back and I can sit down on the computer. But there is so much, like, you get that many people who like Star Citizen together, so much freaking possibilities for conversation, for ideas, for questions, for testimonials, you know? Just like, I can't wait. I have, in all of the, how many years has it been? 8? I think I've been following this game for about 8 years now. More seriously for about 4 or 5 years. In all of that time, in all the time I've been streaming and doing content creation for this game, I have never had a person in real life who also loves the game that I can just like sit and chat about. I've had some friends who have been interested and like they've peeked in on it and have been curious, and like I don't try to push them towards it, because this is not, if you're not actually into this game, don't push somebody into it. It's just, there's no point. But it's gonna be nice to be around a bunch of people who want to just like talk about it. I've met a few people throughout the years who've known about it, but we never really kept in touch. Walk around with a mic and try to recruit people. Have you heard about my good Lord and Savior Pico? Okay, so I'm going to try and test out the Orison missions today. So let's get some combat garb on. Asks a when question by accident. Ask you whatever you want, but only at a price. Abdi's gonna be like, yeah, I'll answer that question. Do you, can you buy me a ship? That will be 1 nomad, please. We will be, what? We will be giving some stickers out for answering. Again, thanks to you all for helping out with the support at the Streamathon. That's what helps us print the merch and do little giveaways when we get there.
The next shuttle is approaching the station.
This is not going to protect me a ton, so I am going to make sure this time that I have med pens. All right, we're not going to mess up this time. I'm going to go out with the C-54. Drop a scope on it. And I guess, I mean, I should do an arc light because I have ammo for the arc light. And I can probably get an S-38 while I'm out there. Just make sure we have a tractor beam.
The next shuttle is
Okay, so I'm going to need a little bit more from the store. Let's head over real quick. That was how you got into it? You had multiple friends in real life who talked about it? Are they still into it? Or are you alone now? The Cult of Toes will be out in force. Our toes will blot out the sun. Yeah, medical care is free in Turkey. I get better health insurance coverage in Turkey than I do in the country where I'm a citizen. Why is that the case? So I actually do most of my medical stuff when I'm back in Turkey, but I've never had cancer in Turkey, so I don't know how the payments would work. And yes, knocking on all kinds of surfaces and wood and stuff. Because obviously that's a very difficult thing to go through. Yeah, not gonna mess up this time. I'm getting the med pens this time, folks. Now I'm just gonna get there and not use them correctly. Hey, but you know, baby steps. Preferably you don't want to take baby steps when guns are involved, but what can you do?
You can always use your Moby if you want some more details on what we have in stock.
Girl, no I can't. Don't lie to me. I can't use my Moby. This nerd trying to sound all hip. Yeah, you can use your Moby. That's what the kids say today, right? Their Moby. You want to take out your Moby, buddy?
Good
It's called a Moby glass, ma'am. Say it with your chest. Public indecency, that's a CS3. What, was I naked? Or is it because my bald ass head? My character's not even bald. He's just missing his hair for a second there. Okay, we're gonna get that. Gonna get one of these. I'm actually gonna go grab a backpack too. That'll help us out. You've got quite a few people in real life that are into the game and have stuck with it. That's cool. That's good fun. You got into it with your friends in 2015. They all left. One recently jumped back in at the end of last year. I think many people will be jumping back into this game over the next few years. We are in the actual midst right now at this moment. Because usually it's like, oh yeah, we're about to go through some major changes. This game is about to change a bunch. This game's actively changing right now, very much. So I think we're at another sort of transitionary phase where we might see a lot more people jump in if the game does reach a new level of stability with the replication layer and server meshing actually working. Apply a little if to that. Oh, S38. Okay, we can take the S38. We've got ammo for it. And if we are lucky, C54. They don't have a lumen here. I was hoping we'd be able to grab a lumen. Grab a couple scopes. A 2 times and a 1 times. Grab some C54 ammo. And a backpack. It's an armor, right? Misk? They not sell backpacks here.
I think you're going to be happy with that.
I think you should shut up, sir. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think they have backpacks. Strange. Can't say I'm super pleased. Hospital inventory is separate from Orison inventory. Well, I got the stuff from it, luckily. And apparently I've got 2 medical tools now. Is that correct? Is that a glitch? Yeah, I definitely need to grab a backpack from somewhere. For now, I think I'll be okay. Actually, I don't know if they're going to have a backpack available for me at the place. Yeah, the progress will stay past a hot patch, I believe. Backpacks on Providence. Oh, right. With the blue and white store. Let's go over there. What's up, Woody Bear? Game isn't changing that much. What? Well, if the game isn't changing that much now, when has it changed more than this before? Let's pick any 12-month period out of the year of Star Citizen's history. Tell me when it has changed more than it is now. Just for the record, we're seeing persistence actually coming into the game. We saw 100 server sizes doubled. last year.
redesigned
We saw salvage gameplay come into the game. We saw cargo hauling get an update. Mining got an update. Replication layer is getting added into the game. I mean, and that's not including all of the small things that are going on. Arena Commander has gotten a major update. Oh. I don't know what you mean in the last 11 years. Everything is still broken. I didn't say the game's getting fixed. I said the game's changing. You can add. I think you're making a different argument than what I'm saying. I said that the game is changing a lot over the next year. I'm not saying that they fixed everything. How do I get rid of the QR code? You can play most of the missions and stuff mostly fine. I would really like for the game to play better. That's for sure. You won't find me disagreeing with that, but I don't think there's been another time in this game's history when I could say that the game was changing as opposed to saying the game is about to change. For the last 3 years, I've been like, yeah, there's stuff coming up that's going to change the game. Now we're finally in the midst of it. Oh yeah, I'm going to Providence, not the hangar. Good call. Thank you for the reminder. Is this one going to go to Providence from here? Yeah. Can just keep riding it. Any hype for City Skylines 2? I'm pretty pumped for City Skylines. I'm hoping that I can do a couple chill streams where we just work on cities here. Because I was a big fan of SimCity. I touched City Skylines a little bit, but I never got super deep into it. I am excited to try the second one, and I think it's coming to Game Pass. So even better. Why add when it's broken? Well, they can't fix it, right? Imagine if they fixed the game and then added 318. Or imagine if they made everything run perfectly in 317 and then added 318 and it just broke everything again. You can't stop adding things until the game is finished. You can't optimize the game until you stop adding things. So you have to add things and then optimize it and then finish it. That's why most games can't be playable while they're being built, because it's not pretty.
Approaching next station. If this is your stop, please prepare to disembark.
What's up, Pig? Pigskin Rodeo.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
What do I do for a living? This. Space Tomato is my living. YouTube, streaming, podcast, all that jazz. I'm just gonna follow this person. I think they're going to the store. I used to do mechanical engineering, or more specifically thermodynamics engineering, but life takes you in different directions. Reading goodnight lullabies. Oh my god! How about looking at this sunset? I could just sit there and do that. Imagine how beautiful this would be in real life. Holy lordy. You do think at some point once server meshing is usable, they need to transition to a more traditional MMO patch release? Oh, definitely. Yeah, they'll have to have themed patches. They'll probably come out much less often. And most likely they'll include like a new star system with each one or something. Be more traditional in style and marketing. Alright, we got our backpack. I think that's all I really needed. Now I can put the goods in there. Should already have backpacks, actually. Yeah, look at that. Man, I'm dumb. Now we're good. Okay. Wish you could set your own markers in-game that persist. Yeah, same here. I mean, oh my god! I'm always in Orison at nighttime, so I never actually get to see sunsets or sunrises. Oh, geez, though, dude, like... This is Like, this is the game broken. Imagine how nice this is going to be to play when everything's working and frame rates are proper and gameplay is fulfilling. Just like, this game is beautiful. Oh my lordy. Hey, thank you, Pig. Appreciate you. What graphics card am I using right now? I am on a 3080 Ti. It's Cloud View Center Spaceport. Is this train still bugged? Yeah, it is.
The next shuttle is approaching the station.
Been around since day one, spent a boatload of money on this game, still disappointed. That is, yeah, that's the rough spot. Is when you spend a lot of money on the game, it can get a lot more annoying. The problems and the time it takes definitely leads to more resentment towards it. With the leaks about Magnus and Terra jump points being shown, I have not heard about that. Do I think that means those systems are next, as it's been well kept secret, or do you think they're just covering their bases so that Stanton is complete? Yeah, I think that's probably just covering their bases. I don't think those will be next. I think next we'll see Nyx and Pyro. I do think that Magnus and Terra are going to be in the first 6 systems, though. Wish the game had any navigational system outside of Quantum. My friend, you and me both. You always have the black articles in the cloud, the little flickers that... Oh, that's right. Spaceport train is broken, so I had to go this way.
If this is your stop, please prepare to disembark. Last call for passengers. The shuttle
Thinking Pyro, Nyx, Magnus, Terra. Yes, the one system that I'm thinking the first 6 systems will consist of Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, Terra, Magnus, and Castra. Don't know which order they will be in, but I do think we could see Pyro, Nyx, and whatever system comes after that within the next few years. All is going to depend on how server meshing performs. Everything depends on how this back-end tech performs. Odin is a sort of a wild card. Odin connects to Terra? I can't remember how Odin connects to these systems. It connects through Terra or maybe Pyro? Oh, Star Citizen in virtual reality would be amazing. Look at this freaking game. And one of the main engine devs who does a lot of the stuff on Gen 12, helped with HDR work and all that jazz, is absolutely dedicated on getting virtual reality into this game, so there are advocates for making it happen. It's just a matter of when that might happen. Yeah, Castra would be cool with the Capcom city. You went to Pyro Jump Point 3 times last night? If we have time, we might try and fly there today. I don't know if we'll have time, though.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Like how Starfield got around to modeling Earth by... Oh, spoilers. That's I would probably still consider that a Starfield spoiler.
All major platforms. Crusader Industries is happy to offer free and convenient transit to all visitors aboard the Orson Skyway shuttle service. Have a pleasant stay.
Wonder if there'll be copyright issues with calling it Capcom. Is it Capcom? It might be a little bit different spelling. Cascom, I think it is. Cascom, not Capcom. Yeah, Cascom is it. What ship shall we take up into... What the Somebody just crashed into the city? The whole platform just shook. Actually, let's see if we even have these missions first. So they should be mercenary. I'm guessing we're probably going to have to get a little bit of credit with Crusader Industries. So let's actually get up into the atmosphere. See if they give us a bunker mission. We probably run one bunker mission, then they'll let us come down into the city. Completely normal phenomenon. Just platform just shakes. Little earthquake on a planet that has no Earth. Starfield seemed super underwhelming. It was for some people.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
Okay, so I want something that'll be able to... Let's see. We want to land on a platform. And... have some interior. God, I can't wait for that C1. Be perfect for stuff like this. Let's go with a... let's just go with the Pisces, actually, for now. And see if that causes us any problems.
Your vehicle has been delivered to
the platforms do shake. Agreed there. Just not like that. The worst part is that the platforms shake constantly. Your controller vibration. Yeah, I can't wait for that Spirit C1. Still loving Starfield. It was overhyped, just like No Man's Sky, which you loved at launch. Everything will be overhyped, right? At this point, I guess everything is just always overhyped. It's hard to control hype. The thing is, like, hype comes from what's unsaid. And it's easy to add context and add details to what's unsaid. You can, like, be super excited about one thing in a game, but being excited about that one thing kind of implies other things. And it's easy to imply those other things without them being said and run with them. A lot of people thought that there would be more exploration and in flight in Star Citizen just because of things that weren't said. And then, you know the rest. The fall into the clouds is not infinite. Eventually you die via pressure, planetary pressure. Right now it's just a simulated death, but eventually you'll die over time as the pressure crushes you. I think I've got some footage saved that shows that. Take time, but the way the game tech has been progressing, you imagine they'll make it worthwhile. I think the game will be worthwhile, yeah. Just don't spend too much money on it, you know? Spend 45 bucks on this thing. Watch how it goes. That's the best bet. I do not have a controller layout you can steal, Nick. I was actually about to ask you, buddy. I want to play with controller more. I don't because it's hard to get the layout to work for you.
Contact received.
What do you mean dynamic clouds? You only started Star Citizen because you were waiting for Starfield, and it became your go-to when Starfield was underwhelming. Wow. When did you find out about Star Citizen, Echo? Yo, Purple Yeti. What's up, mate? Like 1 month ago. Very new to it. Okay. So what, like, the first thing you heard about this game, I'm always really curious about this because it's so easy to get introduced to Star Citizen in different ways. You got introduced to Star Citizen about a month ago when you were looking for Starfield. What was the first thought? Were you thinking it sounded like it was like Starfield, or it's just another space game? So that'd be cool to keep an eye on that as well. In Lyria and Yella, dynamic clouds? Wait, like they have volumetric clouds on the moons?
Landing gear raised.
Alright, I'm not gonna lie, the larger space dust is kind of growing on me. It does do more to show my speed. I don't know. Like, it adds some good context to movement. I think it just fine-tune it, but I actually kind of dig it. Also, I think the space station's just looking really good from this angle. Not volumetric, okay. Star Citizen versus Starfield comparison video? Maybe. Alright, let's see what kind of missions we get. You always heard about feature creep and how it was a scam. Okay, so you had heard about the game before that. The more you read into it, it was the open sandbox of science and engineering. What you've always wanted was the openness. I see. And the vastness of space, and nothing else is delivered on that. Nothing else has. And that's like what people miss about Star Citizen. There has been feature creep. It has taken a really freaking long time. They have blown through estimates and predictions and promises, and they have not delivered on a lot of stuff. But they're still unmatched with what they're doing. So it's hard to validate. Like, you can't just put Star Citizen down and go play something else to get the experience. You have to give up the experience. And like, that decision for a lot of people, when you're not bringing in personal emotions or some kind of a stock that you have in the success or failure of something, a lot of people are just going to choose to stick with the experience that's already available there, even if it's not perfect or doing exactly what they like. And I think that's sort of the details behind the success of something like this. It's not to say it deserves to succeed, but it has found a way to by offering something others can't. And Starfield has shown that again. Starfield is great in its own way. I like it. But it's a different experience. Mech, thank you for jumping in the chat. Welcome to the channel. Glad you've been liking the content. Okay, so here we have a trial contract for Crusader Industries taking place on Security Post 1 on Yella. So let's head out there. We'll do some quick FPS work on Yella. Hopefully that won't take too long, and after we're done there, security at Crusader will trust us enough to send us into the city to clear a building. You're 3 years into SC, you love the changes, you can see them moving forward. By far for you, the combat log fix has been off the chain for Bounty Hunter. You already started to notice the benefits, Loco? Combat logging is another one of those things I forgot to mention earlier that's like, shows that they are trying to focus more on the experience. Good Speed, thank you for the $2 super chat. Appreciate you. Hello, all Star Citizen lovers. Hello back. Capcom means capsule communicator and is a communication liaison between the astronauts and Mission Control Center. Doesn't seem like a great name for a city, huh? Oh god, what is the free look button now? Is it no longer Z? All my key bindings have been rebound. It might be strange, but what made you feel that SC is something special was when you got to go through customs and wait for a train to go somewhere. It's going to be interesting when customs actually has us get rid of our guns when we go into cities. Which might sound annoying, but in doing that, it also creates smuggling gameplay. Because if you have customs that get rid of guns when you go into cities, you create an opportunity for pirates and smugglers to make money by getting guns into cities, you know? Think we might get to fly our F8s we got with pledging? I don't know. Somebody mentioned that there was some kind of a messaging about F8s. I haven't seen that. I heard about that first during this stream. Capcom is clearly mentioned. Yeah, I see it. Captain Comedy. Capcom. Totally. Alright, let's not run into the ground here on Yella as we have done countless times before. Do I think the people outside of the SC community are watching how the game is changing over time? No. I mean, some people are, but it's hard to say when somebody is or is not in the SC community. But no, I don't think most of the gaming industry gives a crap about what's changing with this game. To be honest, do you know what's been going on with Fortnite? It's like if you take a look at the most popular games in the world and realize that we don't know what's going on with those, nobody's going to know what's happening with Star Citizen. And that's why generally people still think it's like the way that they think it is. I did a video, is that 2 years ago, I think? Where I played a Gameranx video and kind of... hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Space Tomato 2 Gameranx. Yeah, some people were not happy about this. But essentially, I took a Gameranx video that was put out that went over... Let's see. So it went over... man, my camera was bad back then. My friend's attention.
Development cycle.
So listen.
Developers who offer all these super powerful and impressive
ships
for players to buy, but the ships don't...
Look at all the... Okay, I don't need that commentary. Look at all the ships on the screen. Connie Aquila, Mustang Alpha, Super Hornet, Titan Renegade, Buccaneer, and he says that it could never happen, that these ships might not enter the game.
Super powerful and impressive.
Super powerful ships
for players to buy, but the ships don't actually exist yet.
But the ships don't exist. Like, that's the level of... Yeah, my stream was scuffed. That is the level of information that comes out of mainstream channels regarding Star Citizen. They were scrolling past ships that we can actively fly in the game and saying that they don't exist. So what I did was I played that part, and then I went out, you could see, and I pulled the parts that he mentioned, and I flew the ships that they were talking about, besides the Polaris, which isn't in the game, but like the Terrapin, the Connie. We went through all of them. We can fly over, and it just kind of shows what kind of messaging people will get on Star Citizen. So, no, I don't think people are paying attention to how the game's progressing. I think people see an article maybe every time there's a new funding level reached, or they see maybe an article when there's a new update that comes out, but generally they don't read the article. I wouldn't if I didn't care about Star Citizen. I would just assume that it's floundering as usual and nothing is really changing, and the people who are into it because they don't understand what makes a good game, and they have sunk cost fallacy. I did not play with Gameranx. No, I just covered their video. Let's get some action music going on in here. We are not in the vibes right now. Shocked to see an IGN post about it. Yeah, and their lead editor, I think, could have done better with his coverage of it. All right. Let us fight and kill. Hello? Hello? Nine Tails. Yo! What the heck is going on here? There's just guns everywhere. There's so many guns on the ground. If I was a loot monkey, I'd make so much money from this. Did they not spawn in? Is that what's going on here? Spawns could be bugged. Bunker's already cleared. But it tells me I got 10 out of 10. Oh my god. Bro, you could make so much money. This is just like an armory. Like, there's not even this many people spawning in here. Yeah, I think it's been cleared already. Even the loot boxes are open. But I've never seen this many guns in one place. Some solid, proper action. All right. Cool. Okay, so bunker cleared. Good job. I guess they all got snapped. Let's so that means we're not going to pass this mission, which means we'll get negative rep with Crusader, and we probably won't be getting that mission anytime soon. Let's see, what can we do here? We might be able to leave the server and come back. I don't know if that still... Did I just hear a gunshot? I don't think leaving the server actually makes you fail it. I'm not sure. I remember, though. They're all in one elevator? We are in the PTU right now. I am bummed out. Maybe we can try and go down one more time. Maybe they'll spawn in if I go down. Come on, please. All right, come on. Load in with me, boys. Come on. Give me something to shoot. Please, give me something to shoot. Y'all in here? Somebody's gotta be here. Fly away and back? Alright, we can try that. Bunkers have been messed up since 320. I didn't have any problems in live. You having problems with 320 bunkers as well? Empty a load into the door, and as you reload, the door opens with the guns pointing out. Yeah, I could see that happening. Almost like it was written. You're having trouble with 320 bunkers as well. Oh, okay. That's good to know. I would have liked to have put that on my video. I didn't realize... What kind of problem? Is just NPCs not loading in? Azrael's, how you doing? Alright, I'm gonna fly away a little bit. See if this will stream out. And then I will return to the base. While I'm doing that, I will be right back, guys. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. All right. What do y'all think? Are we far enough away? Was the music intense enough? Did it make you feel... Did it make you feel how white-knuckled this whole experience is? Dude, the chair's so hot. Oh, God, chair. God, share your streams. Captain Radix, how you doing? Also Tyrus, dude, good to see you. You in game right now? Is anybody in GII on the PTU? Might feel the hype and jump back in during SitCon or IAE. You know what I'll say? I would say that most people right now who are waiting for this game to get better for them to play shouldn't jump back in this year. But I do think it would be worth it to jump in for IAE simply because of the camaraderie, the community, the kind of all the stuff that's going on. Even if you're not jumping in to play the game, I know, for instance, in our organization, in GII, which you can join, by the way, if you use !org, a lot of great people, a lot of good fun. We will be doing some big events during IAE, and we're going to be throwing those not because it is some kind of a special time to do so, but because everybody is kind of online at that period, and it's just a good chance to do some bigger and more kind of fun-focused stuff. So that's what we're aiming to do. I said it's not special, but I guess that does make it kind of special.
Landing complete. All systems offline.
Have a jump marker for me if I want to check out the gate soon. Oh, did you jump into this PTU patch? I appreciate you. Did you just fly all the way out there or what? Yo, Radix, thank you so much for the membership on YouTube. Appreciate you. As Mrs. Tomato said, you are now one of the supporters, so you get all the goods. Most recent exclusive video that we did for supporters, that is Twitch subscribers, YouTube members, Patreon members. I did a video looking at the creation, or not creation, but the development and growth of both Larian Studios and their newest hit game, Baldur's Gate 3. And kind of relate their development of that game to the development of Star Citizen. There are actually some pretty interesting parallels there. So I did a video on that for supporters. I've got another one coming out this week that looks at how the mainstream media and external gaming community looks at Star Citizen and why it's kind of skewed to make them look at it a certain way. So that's another supporter video coming out this week. I do these videos, I call them Red Takes, generally more opinionated, high-quality videos for Star Citizen that I release to all supporters once a month, and sometimes publicly. The last public one that was released was about covering the game for 4 years, and what they don't tell you. So if you are a supporter in any way, make sure to check those out if you haven't already. Might be missing out on that benefit, and thank you, Captain Radix, for the support. I don't think we're going to be able to get this to load back, unfortunately. So let's vacate the area and see what we can do in terms of missions. I gotta get into the city though. You're interested in Baldur's Gate 3, might buy it today. I haven't seen it yet. My sister just got it. And I've heard great things about it, but I haven't seen it. How did I get this armor, Nahore? This is subscriber gear. I got this years ago. I think this came out back when like The Mandalorian was kind of taking off. You can see the resemblance. YouTube ads with playable now equals mistake to non-pledge viewers. We know what they meant. Equals mistake to non-pledge viewers. Well, yeah, definitely. Their ads saying playable now are kind of not a great look. All right. How we gonna do this, folks? How are we gonna make this happen? I'm gonna switch over to something a little more ambient so we can get in our feels as we fly around. Makes everything a little better. Calms me down. Pour some tomato juice over my head, you know, cools me off. And while we're doing this, How about I tell you guys about one of our stories? One of the little things that happened to us while we were away. So last week, as I said, we went on a little family trip to New Orleans. And at the hotel, it's an old building. You know, old relatively speaking. The floor that we were on had a different type of door. Same doors, actually. Well, not the same door. They were similar doors, the difference being mainly that the lock mechanism was replaced on the refurbished doors. So our floor was the only floor that didn't have the refurbished doors and refurbished locks. It's not super critical to the story, but it's interesting to know. Now, we were going out pretty much every night to go have some dinner and hang out, see the city. And one of the nights we came back about 11:30 at night or so. No. This is 12:30. This was late. It was late. I think it was around midnight. And we get to the door. After asking the people to come, because we were in the hotel room for the first half of the day, we were needing some new sheets. So we went and asked them to give us some sheets, and then we went out to dinner. We come back about 5 hours later at midnight, and the door's locked. And now, obviously the door's locked. It's a hotel room. You gotta lock the door. If you don't lock the door, it's not a hotel room. It's just a room. But the door was locked. Like I used the key and I could not open the door. It did the beep, and the lights went on, and I'd push it, and it bounced back against the deadbolt. I'm like, hold on. How is the deadbolts in? How does that... Did the room service come here and just chill in the room? Because we brought the Xbox with us, right? I'm working on my Starfield review, so I had to keep playing the game, and the Xbox was in there, was plugged in, controller was lying there. So I'm sitting here thinking, man, they came in there and they're just trying to play some Xbox. They're just trying to chill play Xbox. They could have just asked, but no, they locked themselves in. So we're like, stand there for a bit. We keep trying. I'm knocking because I'm like, is somebody actually in there? I didn't think somebody was literally in the room, but there was no other explanation for how it could be deadbolted. So we're knocking, like nobody's in there. This is weird. So I go down to the first floor, to the front desk, and I walk up to the lady and I'm like, hey, we can't get into our room. It's locked from the inside and the key is working, but we can't open the door. Can somebody come up there to help us? So they call the engineer and they're like, hey, somebody needs help on so-and-so floor. Can you come help them? And I go back up to the room and we kind of stand there in front of the door. I keep trying with the key, you just keep fiddling with it. Nothing happens. I think 6 minutes go by. And that doesn't sound like a long time, guys, but when it's been a long day, it's past midnight and you're sitting in a hotel hallway, it feels like a long time. So I go back down and I ask them again, hey, we are still up there and it's cold. This hotel kept their freaking hallways at like 60 degrees. I kid you not. It was incredibly cold. Okay, as a former air conditioning mechanical engineer, I can tell you that they were not doing their air conditioning correctly. But yeah, so we told them twice and nothing happened. Finally, I'm starting to get annoyed. It's been 25 minutes now that we've been locked out of our room at 12:30 in the morning with no explanation. And it doesn't feel like they're taking this seriously. Because guys, this doesn't make sense. And they just kind of are chilling about it. I go back down there and finally I'm like, okay, my wife's falling asleep on the floor. We can't get back into our room. It doesn't feel like you guys understand what's actually happening here. And the second I said my wife is sleeping on the floor, the woman's eyes, she's like, oh. Like, why? Because it was a nice hotel. It's not the kind of place that you would expect that kind of thing to happen. So they're like, okay, hey, engineer dude, you need to get up there and get this figured out. And so he finally gets up to us. This is, by now it's been 30 minutes. He finally gets up to us and he joins us. And he's asking us questions. Is anybody in there? Have you guys tried this? Have you tried that? Blah, 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 all this stuff. By the end of it, he's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. like, yeah, dude. So he starts to use this tool to kind of jimmy into the jam and get the lock to move. But the whole time he's just like, this isn't making any sense. And he says that, like, we asked, has this happened before? And he's like, no, it's never happened on this floor because this is the only floor that has the original doors. So the sturdiness of the door is a lot higher. If this were to happen, we'd be able to break through the door. But it turned out that even when he was shoulder charging the door, and then when I joined him to shoulder charge the door, we still couldn't break into it. Now, for many of you, myself included, this might be good news. It means that people can't break into your hotel room while you're chilling. That's nice. But it also meant that we were truly locked out of our room. It's like everything was in there. And it had been like 40 minutes by now. So there's another guy on the engineering team who was finishing up with some other work in the hotel. And he eventually showed up with us. And he's like, you guys, you still can't get into this? Like, what's going on? And we explained everything to him. We told him, like, okay, this is the situation. It doesn't make sense, but this is what we're trying to do. And he tries to shoulder charge. Now, this dude's big. This dude was like 6'4", maybe 250, more than that, 275 pounds. Like, this is a big guy, hefty. And he shoulder charged the door. Still nothing. Couldn't get through it. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, you guys maybe should call somebody. This doesn't seem normal. It's like 12:30. We're like banging into the door and all this stuff. There are other people in their hotel rooms around seeing us basically looking like we're breaking into a hotel room. It was just all kind of weird. But we continued. We were not deterred. And eventually we were deterred. There was a point where the guy who was originally there, he was like, hey guys, I think we're just going to have to get you a room to stay in overnight so that we can actually like saw into this door in the morning. Because that's the point we had gotten to. It is New Orleans. Did you wonder if it was haunted? Yeah, I'm getting to that. So keep in mind, there's no adjoined room here. There's no other way to leave this room other than the front door. And for anybody who's not quite getting what I'm talking about, it's that loop lock, you know, that goes around the little like dead metal ball on your door. You put that loop, you swing that loop lock around it so you can open the door a little bit, but not all the way, right? You know what kind of lock I'm talking about. That's what had caught the door. So, like, by the end of this all, he was telling us, guys, we're going to have to actually saw into this in the morning and try to get in there because there's nothing we can do right now. Right as he was saying that, right as he was finishing that sentence, the other dude who was behind him next to the door did one last like solid shoulder charge into the door, popped it right off the lock. I don't even know what happened. I don't know how. It doesn't make sense. Even as we retell the story, it doesn't make sense. It just opened right as he said that we were going to go find a different room. And we went in, we fiddled with the lock, we swung it around, we tried to replicate the idea of like the door slamming and maybe slamming hard enough for the loop to flip back and like catch on the lock or something, you know, like it kind of jars it to do that. Couldn't get it to do that. The lock was perfectly fine. Nothing was broken. Nothing was busted. Everything worked perfectly after we got into the room. It made no sense. No sense whatsoever. And there was no explanation. The hotel never told us what might have happened. The engineering dudes were like, well, I don't know. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And this whole trip into New Orleans, we were in New Orleans, this whole trip, people are constantly telling us, oh yeah, that building's haunted. Yeah, that building's haunted. Yeah, that stuff happened there. That place is haunted. Yeah, that place is haunted. And then this happens. What are we supposed to think? It's like a haunted experience. I feel like I should have paid extra. It was weird. It was a super strange experience. We got a bunch of video of it too. Like, you can see video of the dudes trying to open the door and using their special tool and all this stuff and none of it working. Cause I don't think I will ever experience something like that again. At least I hope not. It's creepy. Yeah, they should probably replace that floor's doors. New room right now. Funny thing is, we just got in the room and went to sleep. We didn't even second guess, like, Maybe this place is haunted. Yeah, Ghost-like games too. Maybe they were just trying to get on Xbox, you know? They heard all the hype around Starfield and they were just trying to access it. It was very strange. And it's also really strange. I didn't draw a connection between the fact that he said we could go and then the door opened. But that's also weird. Wow, that audio bug is bad. You guys hear that? The hangar? Yeah, we were like the next door when we were waking up, we were testing to see if the door would lock itself again before we left to go outside. Breach and steal. What is this? Oh, it's a Ninetales mission. Get aboard the October Rising. Is this one of those reclaimer missions? Mobile butcher shops. Oh, yeah. Okay, I've done this one. Just haven't seen it before. Ghost in the Shell Hotel. History Channel guy with this crazy hair is like, aliens. Exactly. New Orleans aliens. New Orleans. So I'm not getting any of these Crusader missions. I might have to actually cancel this one first. Yep, here we go. Okay, so I guess we can just try it again. This time we're going to Daymar. See if we can make it happen.
Has already been granted.
So yeah, that was the first of our New Orleans stories. The weird part is I actually have another... Whoa! I actually have another story that's kind of also inexplainable like that. It happened just a couple days earlier. Granted, it wasn't like a physical story like that or anything, but it was a weird one.
Landing gear ready.
But that one will stick with me. You ain't believing me until you see real footage? It's on yeah, we got behind the scenes videos that'll show it. But I think we also posted it to Instagram, right? No. Wait, what'd you say? Oh, no, that's fine. I mean, I could just play the video right here on the computer. Can Mr. Streamer read my messages? I can. Hello. Don't tell you ran into a vampire after that. A lot of talks of vampires in New Orleans as well. It was a good trip. I didn't know much about the city or really the area itself before that. A lot of history there. Obviously a lot of history that has to do with slavery. That's not fun to learn about, but I think it's something that we should know. Partially because, like, there's a lot more to it than just the idea of the slavery, you know? It was like how the country was forming, how people were thinking, how things were being done. Like, it's really strange how much of that history is lost in our teachings. Like, we don't do enough to warn ourselves of the path that we might go down again, you know? Whatever that might be. And I feel like the more I go to like these historical places and learn this stuff, the more I realize that I just did not learn enough in history as a kid. But it was a good trip, and we had a lot of fun, learned about vampires, learned about ghosts and haunted things and stuff. If 4.0 hits by Christmas, you will upgrade to a Gladius for sure. Gladius is a solid combat ship, and it'll be guaranteed their most polished. So hyped for Pyro. We'll see where Pyro is. I think maybe I'll work on a video that kind of explains the whole, I guess the entirety of the road to 4.0, since that's been a little overdone. Ah, yes. Good old Florida. That's where I met Mrs. Tomato. So, you know, it wasn't all bad, but I had some pretty interesting encounters in Florida. Mr. Streamer. Ah, Mr. Streamer. How do you do? That was a weird mix of made-up accents. All right, I'm gonna swoop in right here. We're gonna cue our action music, and hopefully, this is actually gonna work. You have a picture and a video of a ghost at a Renaissance fair. It was trippy. You couldn't see it with the naked eye, but you could see it on the phone camera, and you were following. It was following your friend. That sounds like fun. Maybe a crush. Oop. Been seeing a lot of my vids lately. Love how I dive into CIG's lousy PR lives. Hey mate, however you see it, glad you enjoy the content. Bunker missions are not really working too well right now, it seems. Let's try this again. Same music, different bunker. If this doesn't work, we'll head to the jump point. Or at least try. I love the Carrack. I think it has a long way to go before we realize its true potential, but I love it for what it is right now. Just a nice multi-crew vessel. God, any Florida man stories. Let me think about that, and I'll tell you after the battle. Remind me again. Is this the same bunker? Somebody could probably overlay this footage with this music over this, over the last time we did this same thing with a bunker, like a few minutes ago, and it would be the same. Is this the same bunker? Did I just walk into the same place? What? What is going on? This is a mystery house? It's too intense. The music's too intense for no shooting! Ah! Now I'm out of ammo. That's good. I mean, if I were like, okay, if I were an economic citizen and this were the live servers and I was hurting for money, and you could get easy boxes, like you get a 1SCU box, I'd probably put in the time to collect all these guns. But I think there needs to be an easier way to put guns into boxes or put objects into boxes, and maybe that's just the inventory or the interaction system needs to be worked on. But still, it feels like looting right now is such a hassle that even if you came across all these guns, in other games you'd be like, oh hell yeah, that's money. In this game, you're just like, okay, that's an hour and a half of playtime. Are there any lumens in here? I could use a lumen. There's a bunch of C-54s and custodians and P4s. Ugh. And that shotgun, whatever it's called. Ravager. Takes too long to sell all those guns. That too. Let me mass sell. Let me just tap a button to keep selling straight through my inventory. Alright, so bunkers are not happening, which means that the city missions that I want to do are probably not happening. Which sucks, because... Oh, wait, what is this? This looks different. Let's try this one. Oh, this is a consignment mission. Okay, I'm down to give that one a go. I'm sure I'm not going to do very well at it, but let's give it a try. I do still have C-54 ammo, don't I? Yes, I do. Alright, let's do a retrieve consignment mission and see how that goes. I'm guessing with one person it's going to suck, but... How do you create a box to put things in? Right now you have to blow a ship up. It's actually quite annoying. You can buy 1/8 SCU boxes, but they can't really fit much in them anyways. Alright, we got some ammo in there. Retrieve consignment. Not what I was expecting to do, but I'm into it. You actually find looting weapons and armor to be an oddly relaxing experience? Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I think I would find it more relaxing if the system wasn't so finicky. If it was easy to select the button to do all of the interactions, I think I would enjoy it much more. Oh, that's true. You can drag from the ground into the box. That makes things easier. But that also requires then moving your character so that the camera can see the things on the ground. It's faster. Still a little clunky. Economic citizen, isn't that what we all play in real life? Oh, am I economic in real life? We are going where again? Yella? Security post 1. Security post 2. Nahori, I'll catch you later. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. The fear of crashing during a 30K that gives you the anxiety. 30K anxiety. Write that down. Anybody watch that? Behind the Fern? If you die, you get sent to jail because you broke into a pirate hideout. You level the Ninetales hold jurisdiction over an occupied Hurston bunkers, and if you die, you get sent to jail. Yeah, it's there's a lot of little like just things that don't make sense like that. Star Citizen absolutely does not respect your time. It doesn't right now. The game design actually, I think, points towards a huge respect for time. But because the game is so half-finished and broken in many places, at the current point, it just, yeah, does not respect your time. Anything can happen and ruin hours upon hours of preparation. Logical citizen. There's a lot of little things like that, Acadia. Captain TV, you like the C-54? I like the C-54 because you can get it everywhere. It's very, very easy to keep stocked up on ammo. Hope the New Orleans ghost didn't like tomatoes and followed you home. We already had a ghost, a resident ghost, so, you know, maybe they could use a friend. Might be nice for them. What is also an issue we will start to see more and more? What, the fact that we just kind of suck as people? You find the planets and moons to be smoky to the point of being unable to fly in them, like the smog. Well, I mean, the law system is an attempt, at least, to curb that, Acadia, but I do think that'll be a challenge for them. Probably the biggest challenge for any MMO developer, right? Dealing with the way that people will actually use the game that they're making. CIG's just gotta figure out how to have gameplay systems that can at least minimize the effects of people like that. Wow, okay. Thought I was slanted. Big fan of the Vector. Okay. I loved the Vector back in, what was that, Modern Warfare 2? Like 14 years ago. Vector was one of my favorites. Okay. Round 3. Let's see if this works. No. We're going back to our traditional action music, please. So our goal here is to... get into this base, find the boxes using codes that denote which boxes to get, retrieve them, and get them out of here. Might be hard with one person, but we'll see how it goes. This is already showing me bad signs because we saw this in an earlier bunker that didn't load incorrectly. And there are guns all over the floor, which means this one... Okay, so these are just broken. All bunkers are broken at this point. Because this is now the same... same music. Same place, same footage. Definitely actually a different place. Same footage. So let's get out of the bunker stuff and check out some of the other stuff that might be happening with the PTU. That includes the jump point, and I forgot what else. New server? Yeah, new server might be a fix. Alright, yeah. Much action. Very well. Bunkers have been broken for years. Not sure why'd you even waste the time to do those on PTU. Won't even touch bunker until server meshing in the new UGFs. I mean, clearly I've been able to do bunkers. That's why I'm touching them now. We were just playing with bunkers last week. Is there a reason in lore why we can terraform planets but the weather still sucks? AI. I don't know. I don't think so. Because we are humans and we like bad weather even though we say we don't. So we factor that in. Gallant Rifle and Karna Rifle are your faves. I love the Karna. They did a good job with that one after the first release. Nothing has changed from the last time you played last year. They can't even fix simple things. They can fix simple things. Just depends on which simple things. Oh. What's up with my mouse? What did I do? Oh, there we go.
Takeoff complete.
Yeah, I'm also not on the live servers right now. Now, people are saying that bunkers have been broken. I'm just saying, anecdotally at least, for me, they were working in the live servers last week. If they weren't, I would have put those in my 3.20 video. You've only gotten one 15k bunker mission to work. None of the 60ks have worked for you in 3.20. Okay. Yeah, maybe I was getting lucky. You've been having a blast doing the ERT cargo loop. Probably some of the most fun you've had in the last week in this game in a long time. That's good. ERT cargo loop, so you just do the delivery missions? But the ones with combat? Oh boy. See, now we're negative rep with Crusader Industries. Luckily that doesn't mean they'll attack us, but it's not great. Not what we were hoping for. You were playing bunkers for 5 hours yesterday? Maybe it's dependent on the server. Didn't we have somebody in here who was going to the jump point to jump to? Probably grab myself a different ship. You've never logged into the PTU. Do I find that things are generally more or less stable? It's not consistent. It just depends on what's going on and what their focus is for that PTU. Sometimes the game's super stable in PTU, but there are some really annoying bugs. Sometimes they figured some bugs out, but the game doesn't run super well. There is also a beacon. Oh, really? Oh, is it this? That's actually really easy to get to. It's hit and miss with 3.20. Okay. Don't abandon, just stop tracking. But now that missions have persistence across, like if you log out and log back in, your missions still have persistence, right? Does that mean that no matter what, you'll eventually have to abandon it? Alright, so we're going to jump from Crusader here to halfway in between this planet and ArcCorp. And apparently there should be a massive cloud out there that's meant to house the jump point eventually. So let's go. Bye-bye, Crusader. Sees ya. Oh, it's Aaron Halo rules. Drop out at the right time. Wait, can you not just fly all the way to the beacon? Hello there. Hi, Samson K. Starfield player here. Was just curious about Star Citizen, so I just followed you. Hey, thanks for following. Welcome to the stream. We've got, if you have any questions, feel free to lay them out in chat. Star Citizen has a pretty friendly community, so people will be happy to answer your questions and, discuss with you. Some people might get a little defensive at times, but for the most part, just enthusiasm. You're at a different vantage point, so if you want to group up so you can see it from a different angle. Thank you. Quantum finagle your way out there. It apparently would take 27 days to fly out there regularly. Ew. Might check in chat if someone is there that can add you to their party and you can jump to them. Yeah, might do that. But the beacon seems like it is getting us out there. We got a little ways to go. What were we talking about before? I don't know what we were talking about. Somebody give me a topic. Let's go. We got a couple minutes here to chat. Let's talk about something. Huh? The racist lady? That's gonna take more than a couple minutes. Oh my gosh. Did they expand on the music? No, this is my music that's playing. This isn't the game music. Is Pyro on the horizon or still a long time away? Depends on what you mean by horizon. Pyro might... I don't want to do when questions with Pyro because I'm always wrong. I'll say this, Pyro is closer than it has ever been. It's actually close this time as opposed to before when it was just close based on words. It seems like development is actually caught up to the expectation after getting some of the PES system or problems solved. There is still one problem remaining. With their entity graph solution, it does seem like they're running into some technical difficulties. Whatever company it is that makes that solution is working with them to fix it. But right now, it is causing PES to struggle. Now, I don't think that means that it's going to push them back too much, but it could mean that Pyro is not actually on the horizon. It's just something that we won't really know. Probably until CitizenCon, at least. Most likely further along. What's up, Jim? We are headed to the jump point right now. The music in the bunker was also my own, but it came from Star Citizen's files. Alright, so we're going to start slowing down here soon in Quantum, so I'm guessing I just need to drop out based on the distance I want from it. So as we get about, I'm going to guess 500 to 300,000 kilometers away, we'll start to see the cloud, and I'll drop us out from there. Yeah, soon, TM. Of course. See, Echo is already caught on. Already got it. Been 1 month. Currently there is one, not even a jump point, just a jump area, I guess you could say. I call it a jump point. It's more so the, just the place that is dedicated to it. All right, let's see if it pops up here. And we're lagging. We're lagging. That doesn't help me. Don't tell me I just crashed out. Ah, gosh dang it. I wonder if that has to do with the proximity. No, it's a 30K. That's annoying. We're just about to show up and the game crashes out. I guess let's try it again. Is Pyro supposed to be in Squadron 42? If so, would CIG even open it in the PTU before Squadron? It is not in Squadron 42. Pyro is actually pretty far away from where Squadron takes place. As someone who has experience with databases, you can tell us whatever they are trying to do is hard. That's what I'm getting from it, yeah. At least it'll run smooth on your RTX 6080 when it comes out. If you mean when the game comes out, you'll probably have a more advanced graphics card by then. But we'll have plenty of fun before then. Well, if you decide to play it. It's always up to you. And we're back. Squadron is set 40 to 50 years in the past in one system. No, Squadron should be just a few years past. Isn't Squadron 42 set in the 2940s? Followed Pedro's work for some time. The music he makes your knee drop every time. Well, he makes some good stuff. I can't wait to hear what he's made for the Pyro system. $30Ks have been a problem headed to the jump point. Huh. So not a coincidence.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system. Your vehicle has been...
As a Bethesda player, crashing is in your blood vessels. That's fair, but Bethesda games don't hurt you as much when you miss out on time lost.
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following...
Oh yeah, Ship was with me actually. Good call, Captain Comedy. I just realized I didn't even have to get my other Pisces because the Pisces was still here, so that's working. That's a nice little quality of life fix to the game. Now when you crash out, your ship goes right back to the station that you were last at, so you don't have to claim it. I think our characters are supposed to be the same from Squadron. Yeah. And Squadron also was the reason that the Polaris started to be built. But mainly the idea, I think, was that Squadron 42 takes place before Star Citizen, and then Squadron 42 episodes 2 and 3 take place after. Or they might take place before Star Citizen as well. I actually don't know about that. Maybe the 2940s. Happens way before. Is there confirmation for that?
You are clear to launch.
Because that's actually a really big that's a big detail that helps me out a lot. Because I was always wondering how it's going to work, since supposedly Squadron, because I always thought Squadron 42 was supposed to be right before Star Citizen, and I wondered if they were going to continue to keep moving the date of Squadron 42 up or just leave it at a set date. But if you're saying it's supposed to be well before, that was that changes things.
All systems online.
Can we lift off? What's going on?
Engines online.
Call Shelly. Paul! Paul, help us out! What if he just popped up in chat? Say his name 3 times. Comes out of nowhere with a Lorstradamus prophecy. Alright, we're gonna give this a shot one more time. Let's see if it works.
Thank you, and please visit again.
I do prefer small ships. I prefer ships that are around the same size as the MSR. Wait, the server doesn't have a beacon. I found a beacon.
Quantum drive is now off.
What did I click on? Isn't this the beacon? What's the top 2 things I expect from 4.0 except the pyro system itself? That depends on when 4.0 comes. If 4.0 is coming early next year, then I would say the top thing I expect besides pyro would be UI updates. Star map, quantum travel update, that kind of stuff. Besides that, I'm guessing you also mean besides server meshing. Besides that, locations I assume also just come with pyro, so that wouldn't count. Engineering gameplay. But again, all of this I think depends on when 4.0 comes. I think if 4.0 came fast, they wouldn't have engineering in there. If 4.0 takes too long, engineering comes in an earlier patch. So it's dependent on the date. But I think those are 2 systems that are targeting 4.0. Large groups who partied up this weekend to go out to the Pyro Jump area assets, customs area, and mega stations suffered many 30Ks. We found multi-crew helped greatly. Crew memory crashes. You just log in. Yeah, that's fair. Multi-crew would help a lot. Multiple ships with multi-crew in them. Pisces always had a quantum drive. Do I think the Galaxy is worth it to just get a Carrack for 220 less? Don't ask me questions about ships and money. I will always say they're not worth it. Like, I have a very adverse view of buying expensive spaceships, so I'm not the best person to ask about that. I'll give them away. You know, if we come across them, if one of them is donated to the channel, if CIG decides to pass one to us, I will gladly give one away to somebody and, you know, make a whole thing out of it. But when it comes to buying those ships, I'm always going to say it's not worth it. Now, if you're wondering about buying them in-game, I think the Galaxy... I would pick a Galaxy over a Carrack, just out of design's sake, and the fact that it's a newer design ship by them, but I think the Carrack's a pretty solid bet. Oh, I love the Nomad. Think the Polaris will come with 4.0? I don't think it'll be ready in time. I think it would come later in that year. Really want org tools and ship permissions? Same here. It seems like engineering gameplay does point towards roles. We do have a deep dive about that on the second channel, and I've made a video about engineering, but after this CitizenCon, we will probably get proper engineering gameplay shown in the actual engine. So I'll go back in maybe November and do another video on engineering that'll tie all of it together. Because there is kind of like the roles and the permissions that go with those roles are, I think, coming with that system. Carrack and Galaxy have 2 different roles, but you could probably use them for similar things if you wanted to. force them into it. Used to be celibate. Thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Why am I not getting notifications on Twitch, though? There we go. I also didn't see Citizen John's sub. Yo, thank you for the sub. John! John's in chat? Where you at, man? How you doing? Also, Taryn McLean with the bits. I didn't see any of this stuff. I'm sorry, guys. Most ships don't have component access yet. Yeah. You doing well, John? Have you been doing mining? What have you been doing in game lately? Is the S-Raffle bot not working? Exclamation point join isn't... Is Stream Elements bot broken? On the way to the jump point right now, John. You've been doing salvage. Like hull scraping salvage or stealing boxes and drugs salvage. Knowing you, John, I think I know which one it is. Save some for the rest of us, buddy. You playing with the gentleman's table mainly? I like right here. I think I want to see if we can jump diagonally a little bit from this. It looks like it's disked and it's facing a certain direction. So let's see if we can jump off to our right a little bit here. I don't think there's going to be anything out in that direction. Maze? Nice. Yes, and sometimes your own with new players. Your own? You have an org? Yo, nice to see you, John. Is this supposed to be some gravitational sphere? No, this is like a natural... I don't even know what it's supposed to be. Just a naturally occurring rip in space-time, maybe, or something. Let's try and jump to... Oh, am I out of fuel? Crap. That was a bad move on my part. I guess we're just gonna have to jump in and deal with it. Oh, just a Discord channel. I see. It's like, what, different from the gentleman's table? What happened to that one? Alright, let's see if we can get here and get some fuel so we can make one of these jumps. It's supposed to be a nebula. It's a gas cloud. Still going in there. Why you never come by the garden anymore, man? Don't ever play with the OGs? Too cool for us? Too cool for the veggies? Next gen graphics. Dude. Super shiny. Oh, this station's not there. I don't think I can connect to this. You do come in? Well, I don't see you, dude. Actually, I'm not in. I haven't been in there as much as last month. Been waiting for the game to get more stable, you know? A fruit, not a veggie. Hey, man, I identify as both. Makes it real easy. Okay, so I'm kind of trapped here then, because I don't have any quantum fuel, and it looks like the station is broken, and I can't even fake a quantum jump anywhere. Man, I made an oopsie, huh? Like, I can't even jump to Arc L5. Is that a glitch? Yeah, this is very glitched right now. You don't care what? That I identify as both a fruit and a veggie? You better obey my wishes. I guess I could just normal fly away a little bit, but that's probably going to take a cool minute. Oh, look at these stations actually look a lot like the ones that they had, they showed like a few years ago. I'm surprised they stuck with them. Are meats welcome as well? Oh, we love meats. We love the meat. So I guess what's happening here is the texture that's supposed to make up the clouds are rendering in as a clean sheet. So you can like see the shadow on them and stuff here. But the idea is that this is kind of like your highway into the jump point. I'm not really sure if they have any plans for like what would actually make people fly through these gates. Maybe these would be like security checkpoints for scanning, but I guess this is supposedly the entrance to the jump point. A lot of space station infrastructure here. I'm not sure they're going to add any sort of actual function to them. And Link can take this pathway in, see what's going on the other side. Maybe the gate won't open until you're scanned by the checkpoints, but I imagine this jump point's probably pretty popular. Maybe it's not super popular. Pyro's not a incredibly populated system. How do criminals jump between systems if there are checkpoints? Probably spoofed IDs, I would think. There's not going to be a checkpoint on the other side, so that wouldn't be a problem. But there might also be ways past checkpoints if there are some. I don't know if these are security checkpoints, though. That's just a guess. So I'm guessing that's the main station in the area. But the jump point should still be not too far. At least if we're going by their last demo. Oh, that's a big space station. We need a special jump engine to go through the gates. Yes. So we have our quantum drive. We also have a jump drive. It's sort of like a tweaked quantum drive. Pads are safe. Cool. God, what a landing gear loser. Put him up. Man, don't you love it when like you're driving your car and the song ends right as you get to the place you're going? Love that stuff. All right, let's see if we can refuel here. Where is this in Stanton? It looks like we're in between Crusader and R-Corp. No service required. Shut up. Yes, there is. Give me my fuel. Give me my quantum fuel, buddy. Maybe if I move over a little bit. No! Do I need to get a hanger? Dude, Pisces goes everywhere, John. You went in the C2. I can't not go in the Pisces. 'Tis tradition. Can I please land here, though? No hangers? Why do you have the feeling this patch is just another carrot? I mean, I like carrots. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, though. What is a carrot? I mean, I know what a carrot is. But, like... Don't think ATC works. The hangers are buggy. Like, come on, we're so close. It's weird that I can't do it at the pad. Maybe if I hover over the pad. That old trick. Try landing and then hovering above. See if that works. I guess if anything, I could just go get another ship. Yeah, let's go try another ship. Think he means like hanging a carrot on a stick for pigs to follow? Isn't it donkeys? I guess it could be pigs. Like 3.20. Oh! I am not actually landed. So if I can't actually... Okay, let's land this. If I can't actually get another ship, we'd be screwed. ASAP is broken, of course. All right. If ASOPs don't work, we'll fly out and just get some close views of the cloud, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you mean by it's a carrot, as in like 3.21 has things that are supposed to keep us playing. Or it's a patch that's supposed to look good enough to keep us excited. Thought ASOP was working, at least from what you heard yesterday. Well, we're about to find out. Let's see.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System. Please visit us again.
I'm just gonna grab a terrapin, see what that does. Oh, no. Crap, so you can't. No, you can only claim ships here. It won't deliver to the station. Maybe because the station itself is not registered in the system? Yeah, it doesn't work. Even if you claim it, I bet it, yeah, it just sends it back to Orison. Huh, okay. So we'll just have to take our current ship and fly out as far as we can. See if we can get a good shot. How'd I get this quantum beacon? It just shows up on your map on your server if somebody else has already been there. Just have someone bring you a ship. Too long. I've actually got to take a call here soon from our ISP, so I need to wrap up soon. I can't store the ship here. It only lets me claim it. And the claim doesn't send it here, I imagine. Alright, let's get flying.
Takeoff complete. Landing gear raised.
Oh. Oh, that's the quantum beacon target. I mean, the easiest thing that I could probably do is ask somebody in chat to make a quantum beacon somewhere else that I could target. It'd have to be pretty close. But ultimately, I'm not too concerned with it. I think we can fly out relatively far and get a decent view. We can actually start by just going to the quantum beacon. Then fly from there. There we go.
Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off.
Yo, Dead Meat, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. Getting another raffle started on the chat. Can a mod confirm whether or not the Stream Elements raffles are actually working? Somebody said they might be broken. Is anybody actually winning points from the raffles? Can somebody confirm, please, in Twitch chat?
Gear deployed.
Alright, so we got some distance here. Looks like the clouds are in this direction. Or in that... No, they're... Okay, we're like in the middle. The fuck? Where are we? Haven't seen a winning message. Mrs. Tomato, can you check that on the Stream Elements bot? What's up with the cloud rendering? This isn't a properly finished asset, so it's not actually rendering how it's supposed to. That's why it looks so ugly. Alright, let's try flying this way first and see what happens. Let's just see what kind of a view we can get from this direction. How do you create your own quantum beacon? You know, that's a good question. I actually don't know that. Whoa! Jeez! Oh my god. Wow, that was... You don't get much closer to hitting an asteroid than that. Jeez. No, it looks like the points command is working, so the bot itself is good. It just has something to do with raffles. Don't think it's starting. Oh, you know what it might be? Nightbot might not be triggering it. Okay, see now we're starting to get an idea of where everything is. It looks like this is sort of the middle. Where we're looking at right now is kind of the middle of the clouds. So if we go out at this direction, we should be able to get a better view of them. Does this mean Chris is attempting to fast track a bit now? Does what? The jump point? I don't think so. I think this is just part of the development cycle of getting these jump points into the game. Man, the layout of this thing is confusing when you're coming from the inside. Well, that's a weird graphical glitch. Ew, make it go away. And this is just a yellow cloud. There's not really much detail going on over here. Spacing placement is already best handled early, so you have time to move the pieces around, hence the term placeholder. Yeah, and you know, making sure that this actually works on the live server right now instead of as soon as it's supposed to be used would be nice. Yeah, the Twitch chat, it would be the only place to join in the raffles. For, I guess, a few different reasons, YouTube still doesn't have, like, they still don't have really the actual ability to integrate with the bots that well. I don't know, it's like some weird way in which they present their information, so we can't do those types of raffles and stuff on YouTube yet. The yellow cloud is pyro. They had to downsize a bit. That's it. Just a little cloud. That's all you need. All the pirates in the game are in there. The clouds are actually really far away. When you're on approach, they look really close. Have server stability issues been resolved? 30K still an issue? Yes. 30Ks are still an issue. This going to be the big announcement at CitizenCon? I don't think so. I mean, this is all related to server meshing being a thing, but I don't think this is going to be like a big deal announcement. The jump points themselves. Yeah, this helps to not have to put it all in at the same time. 128 people watching and only 97 likes. Thank you for the magnifying glass on that, John. It does help, guys, if you like this stream over on YouTube. Suggest it to more people afterward who can watch it later on. Appreciate you, buddy. This cloud is freaking huge. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the whole structure of this cloud. Oh, I think I'm surrounded by it. Honestly, it looks like I'm not even going to be able to get close to getting the scale right, flying in normal speed. This cloud is huge. It just like, it's surrounding me. Thank you, CMcD. Did they fix in PTU where you double click on a player in Star Map and it insta crashes? Don't know. I am probably not going to see if they've done that, so I don't insta crash the game. You can see it from pretty far away. I would say you have to be within like a few 100,000 kilometers Still pretty far, but not a quarter of the way to R-Corp or anything like that. That'd be like way out here. It's too bad I came out here with such a small ship. That's okay though. I will be live on stream tomorrow again, so we can probably do this one more time. Try and test the PTU a little bit, and then just get in game to play like normal. Because as much as fun as it is to check out the PTU, I would like to also actually play the game. But this is about as far out as I'm getting. See, this cloud is freaking... I can't even tell what direction I should be looking. It's just all around me. And this is going to be why we get quantum boost. So that you can travel on this scale of inside this cloud without having to do full-on quantum jumps. But it looks kind of cool. Can still see some of the graphical artifacts in there. Yeah, this is like, the scale of this is... It's hard to comprehend. I hope that we get a lot of local locations nearby here. Maybe, I don't know, like... I don't know what they could do. Full-on space stations wouldn't really make sense, but... Some kind of place where civilians have kind of grouped up and created centers of commerce in the area would be cool. No lightning in the clouds yet, but they are working on it. Spirit is not in the PTU right now. What is this? What am I looking at here? Is this a pizza? A dark pizza? Krusty Krab pizza? It's a nice view. They did a cool job with it. Can't say much else besides that, because it's not doing much else besides that, but there it is. That's the jump point. Put into the game for the first time. I'm sure we will look back at this moment after we have like 6, 10, however many jump points and be like, man, remember that first really buggy implementation when like the clouds wouldn't even render incorrectly? You couldn't even land at the station and go inside to get a new ship. That's about it. Thanks for joining me for this little journey through 3.21. We had a good review of kind of the news over this last week, something that I kind of want to do every week. Still haven't decided how that would happen, but a little update on what's been going on over the latest few days of news drops, I think would be cool. There's a few of those already, but a different perspective is never a bad thing. Got a new video coming out for you supporters this week, as well as another video coming out for everybody else, looking at refining gameplay and how it is about to complete the industrial game loop, except for crafting. I think it's a big deal, so I wanted to make a little video highlighting that. Also got a new player's guide coming out soon and a couple other videos in the works, so we are back at full capacity on the way to CitizenCon. And podcasts and streams will be continuing as normal. As Mrs. Tomato has said, we got a big giveaway starting later today. It is the big Mrs. Tomato giveaway. No, not giving away Mrs. Tomato, but giving away some pink ships. Some pretty ships. And keep an eye out for that CitizenCon merch if you're in the garden. It's looking really good. They will announce Magnus and Terra. What, at CitizenCon? Ooh, boy. It's a heck of a prediction. Alright, so we definitely have a... Wow, look at that. It's very pretty. All right, folks. Again, thank you all for joining today. Had a lot of fun. Went over some good stuff. Always good times. With that, like I said, we'll be right back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. More fun. 3.21, 3.20. All the things, all the giveaways, all the good times. Keep an eye out on Discord for any announcements. I'll catch you guys all later. Thank you. Hey, you stopped too early. I will catch you guys all later, and thank you so much again for joining me. Cheers, folks. Gonna send you all over to Detox on Twitch. Tell him what's up. Tell him hello. Have a good time with him. Peace out.